Democrats, can you hear me? Looks like he dropped out from being.
I see him still. I still see him as
okay,
mic
I
up.
see a mic.
Yeah,
Okay.
I still see him mic.
Unmute yourself, dude. Democrats, unmute yourself.
I'll mod this for you.
Okay, but he's got to unmute himself. When he unmutes himself now.
He already unmuted himself. Something. He unmuted himself.
Yeah, but there's nothing. There's not. There we go. Something. Can you hear us?
I can. Sorry, it's my first space, which is what I told you in the beginning. So I appreciate you having me on, but I didn't know that I needed my phone to do this, and I'm more of a laptop guy.
Okay, no problem. All right, so what's the criticism here?
Well, the claim is that there is no nuance with regards to the death penalty. Either one believes that the death penalty is wrong, or they don't, because there's only one objection to the death penalty, which is a moral one. Either you really believe that someone should not be put to death because you're a Christian, or insert religion here, or you don't. Anything other than that is merely an argument to reform the death penalty. And that was basically my
point. That's kind of a that's a silly position, though. I mean, you should see the hole in it right away, right?
There is no hole. There's no hole.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me give a response here. So, couldn't you be a Christian for the death penalty, but not be a Christian for the death penalty if you have an unjust government who's dishing out the death penalty where they shouldn't be?
At least theoretically, no. I mean, you have to first look at the old.
Why not?
I'm gonna explain. First, you have to look at the Old Testament, which very clearly in the Ten Commandments says, "Thou shalt not commit murder." Then you have to look at the New Testament, because that's what we're supposed to, at least as Christians. And I'm not talking about other religions, because I am not as versed on other religions. But as a Christian, Christ is very clear in the New Testament about how we're supposed to treat people, and that is you're in essence just supposed to turn the other cheek. Now, I'm not saying that I necessarily.
Yeah, but that's not contending. That's not contending with what I just said. So, if you were a Christian who believed in the death penalty, but believed that the state was unjust in doling the death penalty out, you could hold those two positions with no conflict, correct?
I don't think so. I think that you would have to just not.
Okay, well, what's then you need to. Okay, then hang on. Then you just need to show me the contradiction.
The contradiction is either one really believes that you don't put people to death via the government or by yourself, or you don't because you value human life so much that you don't believe that it's appropriate to punish someone in that way, and that is.
Yeah,
and that's
you're right. Okay, bro. Yes, it would be if you held the position that murder is wrong and murder is right. That would be a contradiction. That would be P and not P. What's not P and not P is if you say it's the death penalty is justified killing, therefore not murder. But there's instances where the state could do it where it's not justified. That's not P and not P. Do you understand that?
I just disagree. I just disagree with you. I think.
Well, that's nice that you disagree, but show me the contradiction. I'm not interested in your mind state or your feelings. I want to know what the contradiction is.
And I'm not interested in yours. You're just wrong. There is no contradiction. It is a
I'm just wrong.
Statement. You either believe
there's no
you either believe you don't kill people or you don't. That's it. Anything else is in essence you are.
What is murder?
What is murder? Murder is the taking of a human life.
Yeah, what is it? Okay, that's killing.
Yes.
What's murder?
And murder's a very similar animal. That's one element of murder.
Yeah. Well, I mean, life. Yes, it is. It is true. Somebody has to die for it to be murder. I agree, but killing and murder are two different things, right?
Yes.
Yes, great. Got it. Yeah, wait, got it. So you can be for killing in certain circumstances where it's not murder, then can't you?
I don't think as a Christian you can. I think if you want to talk about the law and how we as people see it.
Okay, hang on. Before we get to the Christian part, we're just looking to make sure that the position's coherent. Then you can refute what you think is Christian or not Christian. Right now, I just want to make sure the position's coherent. Can you believe that you can take life in a way which is justified, therefore it's not murder? Yes or no?
If you're asking me personally, the answer is yes. But that's not the argument.
No, I'm not asking you listen, I'm not asking you personally. I'm just asking about the coherency of the argument itself.
The argument is
Can
absolutely
a person, any person,
Just because
bro,
you say something's
and,
not
okay,
good, you're
great,
not God,
thank you.
Andrew. You're not
You're
God,
God.
okay? You cannot kill people.
I didn't say I was
That's how
God.
it
What
is.
are you talking about? Okay, listen. Right now, I just want to make sure that that our positions are coherent. You said that a person cannot take the position, right? That of P and not P. I agree. So I'm asking where it's P and not P. If a person says, "Hey, I'm for killing in certain circumstances, but that's not murder," what is the contradiction there? There isn't one, right?
Right. If we want to talk about humans and we want to talk about the law, there
Okay.
is no contradiction.
There is no contradiction. Okay, great. So then it's a coherent position. So now we can move on to the second part of this. So why can't a Christian hold the position that there are times where life can be taken in a justified manner, but that the state will often deal it out in an unjustified manner? What's the contradiction there?
I'm not saying there's a contradiction there. If I'm hearing you correctly, what you're
And
saying.
what's the problem with the position?
You keep interrupting. If you want me here, let me speak. If not, this is a waste of everybody's time. If you're asking me,
hey, dude, you've interrupted every bit as much as me. Calm down, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Are you sure? This is
go
what
ahead.
you like to do. You like to play games. You like to name call. You like to interrupt people. I'm just trying to make an argument.
I didn't call you any names.
You called me retarded. I heard you very clearly. And I'm pretty sure.
Did I call you retarded? Did I call you retarded when the debate started?
That doesn't matter. You still said it.
I said maybe. Yeah, I said maybe you're retarded. And by the way, it was an affectionate term used for a person who's being a boomer with technology. Do you think that I actually meant it in a malicious way? Or are you just being a bitch right now?
Again, you just got to resort to insults.
Yeah, whatever. You're just derailing. So let's get back to this, right? Tell me what the contradiction is if a Christian says that there are ways in which there can be justified taking of life where it's not murder, but the state doesn't do those out correctly. Where's the contradiction there?
What I'm saying is that as a Christian, one should not view killing anybody as appropriate. So it doesn't even get to the other part that you're talking about. That was my argument. And if one believes that, hold on, that's fine. I'm not saying they're wrong. What I'm saying is that anything other than that is basically we need to have a discussion about reforming the death penalty, that it is not about being against the death penalty. And you had argued that.
Okay. And are you a Christian, by the way?
I am.
Okay. So if somebody was raping your wife and you had a gun, you wouldn't kill them?
I didn't say that had anything to do with me. So here, a few minutes ago, you said, I'm not talking about you. Now you're giving me a hypothetical. If I walked in and somebody was raping my wife, I can tell you exactly what would happen. I would take out my 9mm that I'm trained to use because I did my time in the military, and I would handle my business. But that's not what this discussion is about. Okay. It's not about.
Well, hang on. So hang on. Is that just?
I think in that scenario, as an individual, you're making a choice to give out justice. Whether it's justice in any true sense is a whole nother discussion.
Are you violating Christian ethics by doing that?
You absolutely are.
Okay, so then the most Christian thing you could do would be to let that guy rape your wife?
The most Christian thing you could do would be to try to stop him without killing him and only kill him if they actually posed a threat to you. So you're assuming, for example, that
if they're raping your wife, they do,
let
right?
me finish.
They do pose a threat.
If I walk in with my 9mm out and I tell them to get off my wife, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get off your wife. In real life, it's not like it is in the movies. If you've never handled a weapon and you've never served and you've never had to deal with people in that capacity, most people comply when they have a gun to their head and it's cocked. That is a fact.
Okay, great. So he says no, he's not going to get off your wife. Would you shoot him?
In that scenario where you've tried everything else leading up to that, probably, yeah.
Is it justified?
For me, but that doesn't mean it's justified to God.
Okay, so is it a violation of Christian ethics?
I would argue yes.
That you shot him and killed him? I
would argue yes.
Okay, so why isn't it a violation of Christian ethics to kick him in the face?
Because you're attempting to stop him from committing the rape without killing him. You're trying to preserve the life.
Would you agree with me that if a person is a rapist and they're raping a woman right in front of you, for instance, like your wife, that chances are pretty good if you allow them to live, they'll probably go on to rape more women?
Absolutely, I would agree with that. But again, we're not talking about me.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about
So then, hang
Christianity.
on. So do you think that God also thinks that you should let people like that live so that they can go on and rape other women?
I don't pretend to know what God thinks. I pretend that He's clear in the Bible that we're not supposed to
No,
kill
you
people.
do pretend to know what God thinks because you're telling me what's a violation of Christian ethics. You're telling me that if somebody was raping your wife in front of you and you pulled out your gun and shot him, that's justification for you. You would consider yourself justified, but you consider that God would not consider that to be justified.
I think that it's complicated. You would have to ask for forgiveness. You'd have to really mean it.
You mean it's nuanced? Wait, bro, it's nuanced? Oh shit. Oh shit. What did I tell you my position was, bro? What did I tell you? My position was that it was what?
You did say you used the word nuance.
Now I use the word nuance. That's right. Why?
Well, we're here to
Because these
find
are
out, Andrew.
nuanced
We're here to
things,
find
right?
out.
Yeah. Well, didn't we just find out?
No, it's
What we
one
found out was
hypothetical doesn't
that,
prove anything.
well, it proves that it proves either one of two things have to be true here. Either A, when you kill a person who's in the commission of a heinous act, like, I don't know, butchering a child, raping your wife, doing horrible things like this, that you think that there's condemnation against you, that this is violating Christian ethics. That's the first route we can go. The second route we can go is that it isn't. But there can't be any in between. It has to either be that it is or it isn't. It's justified or it's unjustified. So which is it?
Again, I think it depends. Are we talking about humanity or are we talking about Christianity? Hold on, Christianity. I think if we're talking about Christianity,
I think
the only
yes.
scenario in which you could ever take anyone's life in Christianity is probably self-defense. And you can use that to help other people, but your life would actually have to be in danger. So going back to your hypothetical, if I walked in and someone was raping my wife and I said, get off of her, and he got on the floor and I called the cops and they came, there isn't any reason to kill him. Would I want to kill him as a human being? Of course I would want to kill him as a human being. But is that the Christian thing to do? If you can subdue the suspect without ever actually firing a shot, then that's probably the Christian thing to do. They're two different things.
Yeah, but this is a pivot though. So what you did was you changed the circumstance of the hypothetical, which is fine. In the context of this, where you say he gets up and he complies with all your demands, you can't shoot him. That would be unjust. Okay, I can accept that. That's not what the hypothetical was, though. It's what would it be just if he didn't comply and you shot him anyway under Christian ethics? The answer appears to be yes.
I think that it is hard to say. You know, that's one of those things I really believe you would have.
It's hard to say.
You would have to really, one, not me, but one would really have to pray for forgiveness, actually feel that they need to be forgiven, and reach out to God for that. I don't think it's automatic.
What do you need forgiveness for?
You took someone's life.
Forgiveness, yeah, in a justified way. Why does that imply forgiveness is necessary? What are you being forgiven for? Is it implying you think it's sinful and unjustified?
I think those are two.
What's sinful and unjustified about this?
I think those are two different things. Justified is one thing, and I agree in your hypothetical, hold on, that it might be justified.
No, if you're sinning, it can't be justified. If you're sinning, it can't be justified.
Justified is a legal term. It is not a biblical term. There is justification under the law.
No, it's a philosophical term, too. It's a philosophical term as well. Justified, grounded.
Okay.
Right? It's not just a legal term.
So it can be a philosophical term.
So we're talking about the philosophical term.
It can be a legal term.
Of justification.
But
yeah, but we're talking about the philosophical term here of justification.
Well, and it's nice when you change the rules like that. I'm fine with that.
I'm asking, that's what I'm asking about. I'm not asking about what's legal. I don't give a shit about that. We're asking about what's moral, right? Isn't that what you said? We're talking about what's moral. Why are you bringing legality into it? How am I changing the goalpost here?
Well, you're changing the goalpost because you didn't actually mention the word philosophy until now, which I'm fine with, by the way. But it's mostly just because
what do you think morality is? What do you mean?
Again, we would wanted to have laid some ground rules here. I don't have a problem talking about it. I'm just saying that's not where we started this discussion. So I'm fine continuing on.
Yes, it was. Here, I'll read it. I'm going to read it for you so that you understand that you made a moral claim. Literally, you made a moral claim. You said, Yeah, so either one truly believes killing someone is wrong or they don't. What does that have to do with the law?
Well, again, going back to justification, there are legal defenses regarding justification that make it less likely
you're
you're
going
going to jail for using it. So it's relevant.
Yeah, so what? That has nothing to do with the law. It's either a person thinks that it's wrong or not. If the law, regardless of where the law fell on it, why would that have any bearing on whether it was wrong or right? There's unjust laws all the time that we ignore.
It would have,
because we don't think they're right or moral.
If I can respond,
this is a moral discussion. No one's talking about if it were just going to discuss the legality of it, then yeah, shoot him in the face. Totally legal. Who gives a shit? That has nothing to do with any bearing on Christian ethics at all.
Hold on.
Zero.
I'm going to disagree with you for a couple of reasons. The first is that the Bible clearly lays out that we are supposed to, obey just laws. And second of all,
those are moral claims. That's a moral claim.
It's also a biblical claim.
We ought to do that. No, well, that's a moral claim. All claims you're making from the Bible here in this context are going to be moral. We ought to do what the Bible says.
If we're looking
because that's moral, right?
If we're looking at it from a Christian perspective, then we ought to do what the Bible says. If we're looking at it from a legal
because that's what's moral.
Are you going to look?
Yeah, we're not looking at it from a legal perspective.
Or should I just bail out of this space because you?
Well, I want you to answer the fucking question that I asked you first, and then you give me the rebuttal. Most of the time I interrupt you is because you're not answering what I'm asking you.
And maybe you should be more clear, Andrew. Maybe you should be clear.
Okay, I'll be very fucking clear. Yes or no? We're supposed to follow the Bible because that's what's moral.
Yes.
Yes or no?
For the purpose of this discussion.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it doesn't. Yes. Okay. So yes or no? It doesn't really matter at all if it's lawful or not, because we're going to adhere to the morality of the Bible, aren't we? Yes or no?
There's a caveat there, though. Yes, I would agree with you, but where I was going with it is that anybody who has any level of understanding about the law may or may not make a decision based on that knowledge because they don't want to suffer the consequences of what the law is going to bring down on them. That is to say, they may not shoot that person and even put themselves in danger because they're afraid to commit an act that's going to get them to go to prison. So to pretend that it has no bearing on this conversation at all is just laughable on its face.
It's completely irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. We're only talking about the moral claims here, not about the lawful claims. When you're talking about justification here, we're asking, is this moral under Christian ethics to do X, not whether or not the law sees it as moral. Laws can be changed. Christian ethics is universal. It's unchanging. Yes?
I would agree with that, yes.
Okay, great. Then the law doesn't apply here. So we're just talking about the morality of it itself. So I'm going to ask you again, under Christian ethics, if a man's brutally raping your wife and refuses to stop and you're armed and you shoot him, what are you repenting for?
Well, first, I'm going to say again, you've changed the hypothetical, and that's fine. You've now inserted the word brutal, and you've now acknowledged that you've changed it to acknowledge my.
Here, let me. You know what? I'll make it even easier. I'll make it even easier, right? As he's brutally raping her, okay, she happens to be on her period. He wipes the period blood off and draws a pentagram on his forehead while he maniacally is laughing. It doesn't change the concept at all. No matter how much more I add to it, it just shows the absurdity of you ducking the question.
No, it doesn't.
Let me respond. If you shoot his ass in the face, then let me ask the question. If you shoot his ass in the fucking face under Christian ethics, right? Have you done something immoral or not?
I am going to respond because you changed the hypothetical. God. I originally posited that I could point a gun and ask him to get off my wife, and most people would do it. So now you've changed that, which is fine. But I want you to acknowledge you changed it because you want to play this game. The reality is it doesn't change. You're right. The hypothetical, despite your changes, doesn't change. But if you take someone's life, you darn well better repent. And if you don't get that, that's something I would encourage you to take up with your pastor, because if you take somebody's life, that's serious business. It's not a joke. It's not something that you take lightly. I'm going to guess you didn't serve in the military. And if you did, you didn't see any combat, because it's something that weighs on you when you take somebody's life, even if it's justified. So you better have.
Oh my God, stop fucking prattling. Stop fucking prattling and just tell me what is unethical about it. Where is it unethical for you to shoot this guy who's brutally raping your wife in front of you, draws a pentagram on his forehead, and is maniacally laughing and won't stop? How's that fucking unjustified under Christian ethics? How?
As I said before, and I'll say again, you can make an argument for justification. All I'm adding to your position is that after it happens, one should probably show repentance to God.
For what?
For
what?
Taking a life.
Then that would be unjustified, dipshit. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to repent. You just contradicted yourself.
I just disagree with you. And again,
that's not, you can't just disagree. You just contradicted yourself.
Again, your superior wit and your superior IQ that you have to work.
Bro, I'm gonna listen. I just want to point this out so that you understand this. You just contradicted yourself. Here's your position, Andrew. It's totally justified for you to shoot that guy under Christian ethics, right? And then on the second breath, you say, but you need to repent because it's not justified. That's a performative contradiction, sir. Yes, I do think that that's.
It isn't.
I do think that that's dipshittery. Yes, I do.
And you can listen.
Well, then what are you repenting for?
You can call me all the names you want. It changes nothing.
Well, what are you repenting? What are you repenting for? What was the sin?
Okay, let's be clear. The hypothetical that you've given us is a horrible hypothetical, but he's not murdering her.
Agreed.
He's raping her, which is, again, I agree that it's horrible. However, if you use force to take someone's life, then you ought to acknowledge that you have taken a life and then you repent. So justified is a word you've chosen for this discussion, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's some win-all word for a debate.
Then you're saying that it wasn't justified.
I think that.
Do you understand that?
I think,
like, you're just saying you have, if you have to repent for something, it's because you did something which was not justified. Do you understand? Otherwise, what are you repenting for?
For taking a life.
Do I repent for things
like taking a life?
Okay, so that would be, so then taking life is never justified then.
Well, my original position was that was exactly true.
Answer my question first.
That was my original position.
So then taking, so I just want to make sure I got this right. Taking, because you recanted that and said under self-defense it was fine, but now you've recanted that. So what you're actually saying is that just taking a life, no matter what the circumstances are, is always wrong.
That was my original claim, yes, that you cannot, as a Christian, believe in that. But you keep going back and forth and asking me my personal opinion. I'm not saying that's my personal opinion. If I walk in and someone's raping my wife, I'm probably going to take their life. I know I'm going to hell. I'm fine with that. That has nothing to do with me personally. We're talking about what is.
So you think you're going to go to hell? Well, you think you're going to go to hell for killing a person, brutally raping your wife?
I think that's up to God. But setting that aside, my point is, as a Christian, you're not supposed to be in support of the death penalty. Because let's be clear, you've twisted this whole thing. You're giving me a hypothetical. The hypothetical you've given me is not about the death penalty. The death penalty has to do with the state putting someone to death. That's what the death penalty is. You've just given me a hypothetical about my personal actions because I'm not sure that you know what the death penalty is. But the death penalty has to do with, the government actually taking life. Self-defense and defense of others are two different things.
Well, no, that's not the case, right? So the state can take a life in cases where it's justified, right?
But that's not my point. I'm parsing out the difference between the death penalty,
but it's my point,
which is what we're supposed to be talking about, and the hypothetical
that is what we're talking about,
which would actually fall under something else.
Yeah. Do you want me to tie them together for you so that you understand?
I already understand. I wanted you to acknowledge that you don't get it.
Well, then
you would have given me a different hypothetical if you did.
Yeah. So I'll tie them together so that you understand. If it is indeed the case that there's a justification for an individual to take a life under certain circumstances, and that's not considered murder by yourself or under Christian ethics, then we would need to apply that same logic to the state when the state takes a life, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, why not?
Because
why is the state always unjust in taking a life, even if there's times where you are going to be just taking a life?
I never said that they were. I'm just saying that the power of the state is not the same as the power of the individual, is what I'm saying.
No, nobody's arguing that. I'm arguing for consistency. I'm asking
you're putting them on the same playing field. They're not on the same playing field. It's not consistent.
Yes, well, I'm just when it is consistent. If you are justified taking a life under certain circumstances, why wouldn't the state be justified under the same circumstances? That's the question.
Okay. In that scenario, going back to the hypothetical that you've given me, the state doesn't take life for that. Most states do not acknowledge that you killed someone because they've committed rape. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm saying most states only put people to death for the death penalty. So in your own hypothetical, that does not work.
This is pure obfuscation. All we have to do is just change the conditional and say, okay, there's a state that does. Why would they be wrong?
It is not, because we have to deal with the factual world around us, not just you changing the rules every time you're losing.
Okay, well, is it factual that a state could easily change the law so that a person who raped multiple women could get the death penalty? The answer is yes.
Hold on.
So that would be living in the factual world.
I would say they can change it. I don't think easily would be the word.
But they can. So it is factual. It's based in reality. But even if it wasn't based in reality, you would still need to contend with the hypothetical. The hypotheticals don't need to be based in reality. They only need to be based on testing your logic. So the consistency here still stands. State changes law. Now you rape 3 or more women, you get the death penalty. Okay? State changes the law. By the way, states used to have laws like that, by the way. They used to hang you for stealing horses, for instance. So the thing is like, yes, why would the state be unjust in the taking of a life for the exact same thing that you are justified in taking a life for? That's my question. Why would they be?
The reason that works, at least used to work, and I will acknowledge your factual basis for the hanging of people in like the Old West and other places, is because we have given power to the state to do these things. There is a process. They have done an investigation. They have found this person guilty. Presumably, in your hypothetical, they've raped 3 or 4 people. We've got DNA. We know that they did it. And then we as a society conclude that they should be put to death.
So anyway, can you answer my question now?
I did answer your question.
Mike, okay, so I'll ask my question again. And just so you know, when you listen to this recording back, you should listen to why it is that I interrupt you to make you answer the actual question I ask you. And you can go to right this part where I asked you this question and you jumped into a summarization of how the thing works rather than asking the direct question I asked of why one would be justified and the other would not under the same conditionals. So I'm going to ask you this question again. Why would you be justified in the taking of life, but not the state under the exact same conditionals? I don't want to hear about the process. The process is not relevant. I want to hear why you would be justified and the state would not be.
To begin with, I object to the word justification. Justification is a defense. It is not an absolute. Let me finish. The difference between the 2 scenarios is you have a person who walks in and sees his wife being raped. They react in a way that we can almost all understand, that his wife is being attacked and she's being raped, and he feels like he needs to save her, and he kills the guy. The state doesn't have a soul. The state is not a person. The state,
what if it's a police officer?
Now you're changing the hypothetical again. Let me answer the question. The state, using the death penalty, again, the death penalty, an officer shooting somebody is not the death penalty. I don't even think you know what you're talking about. You keep changing the hypothetical.
What is it? Well, hang on. Is an officer an extension of the state?
They are, but it is without the same process, so it doesn't qualify as a discussion of the death penalty. It's an officer-involved killing. We have actual language that addresses what it is.
Okay, so just so I got this clear, you believe that if there's an officer of the state who employs death, you wouldn't consider that to be the death penalty. You only narrowly consider the death penalty to be process-based on whether or not you are convicted in the court of law, and then there's like lethal injection or hanging at the end of it.
I think that's the standard definition and discussion of the death penalty, although I see the correlation you're making, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying when you talk about the death penalty, you're not typically talking about the hypo you've given me or the police officer you've given me. We're talking about cases where people have murdered people. They go through a process and they're put to death by the state.
Okay, so then if that's the case, and you're just narrowly going after the death penalty as just a state process in which the state should not be able to deal out death as a form of a process, then you agree with my position. Look at that shit.
I never said that.
Look at that I never shit. Said that.
I said that from a Christian perspective.
You think that the state?
Hold on. My claim was that from a Christian perspective, that people who are Christian do not support the death penalty. That was my position. I'm not saying about anything. I support the death penalty. I don't care if people get put to death because they rape and kill women. I don't have a problem with that personally. My claim was that if you're a Christian, which is what you've somewhat claimed to be, you can't support the death penalty. And all I wanted was some discussion about like why.
And hang on. So wait. Got it. So as a Christian, you're saying, as defined by you, The death penalty being a narrow process in which the state can adjudicate death of a person after a lengthy trial is not a thing Christians should support. And I don't support that, right?
Well, I don't claim to know what you support, but I agree with everything else.
I just told you. So since I don't support that, you would agree with my Christian position then, wouldn't you?
Again, you have not actually said anything. All you've done is name call and give me hypothetical after hypothetical.
I literally just told you, I also am not in support of, if you're defining the death penalty as only being narrowly a definition of the state has a process in which you are convicted and then they issue death, that I also don't support that. That was my position before that you were critiquing. And then when I said, wait a second, there's some nuance to the position when we're talking about murder, which is what you brought up, I said, ultimately, you were just going to end up agreeing with me in this argument because you also believe that there's justifications for taking life, but you don't want to give those justifications to the state, just like me. Look at that. Isn't that great? We came to an agreement.
Am I going to be allowed to speak
like
now,
I said we would.
Okay, I won't.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me where you disagree with me.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So, based on what you just said, that you agree with me, because it was my hypothetical that was posed. I don't agree with you. You agree with me. I said in my first post to you that a Christian doesn't believe in supporting the death penalty in essence. So you're agreeing with me. I'm not agreeing with you. Let's be clear about that. All this argument was over nothing. You could have just said, hey, man, I agree with you.
Yeah, this is really funny. So the thing is do you agree with me that people don't always have the same definitions of words? Like death penalty is going to mean different things to different people. You're going to hear, for instance, progressives advocate that state officers who shoot people are giving them a death penalty with no judge, jury. They're just acting as the executioner, right? So there's all sorts of different and variety of definitions for what people mean by death penalty. You agree with that, right?
I think that's political rhetoric. It is not a legal definition and therefore isn't relevant to the conversation about the death penalty.
It is relevant. It doesn't need to be legal for you to have a proprietary definition of something, right?
I disagree. I think that you can get out and say things.
Yeah, you disagree?
Hold on. People who are political entrepreneurs, whether they're on the right or they're on the left, can go out all day long, every day, and make claims that are not true or that are half true. But all of those things do not make the legal definition of the commentary that they make. You know, all these people who say, oh, you know,
they're making moral claims, though. They're making moral claims, not legal claims. And that's what we're talking about is a moral claim.
You can't know what they're making. You don't know what everybody says is a moral claim. It can simply be because it can simply be because that's how they make their money and they get paid to make stupid statements all day long. And that's on both sides.
It wouldn't change the fact that these are moral claims.
Hey guys. How about this? Let's make it a little easier on the both of you.
How about, let me finish.
No, you're gonna like this. How about, if you guys are gonna talk about moral and not legal, how about we talk about what's in the Bible in regards to murder and death?
Well, let's start with this. Let's just start with this. I don't understand how you can even say this, how you can say that these aren't moral claims that they're making. They're making moral claims. Now, you can infer that they're disingenuous about them, but they're still moral claims. You agree with that, right? They are making moral claims.
Here's the problem, why I disagree with you. I think I go the other way. If they actually believed it, like if you had a progressive and they actually believed all the stupid things that comes out of progressives' mouths, and they truly believe that, I would say it's a moral claim. If someone is paying you to post stuff on X or do videos, they're just making content. And that, I think, is a different thing. I get that they might be making content with the guise of a moral claim, but if they don't really believe it, I don't think they're actually making a moral claim. They're just entertaining.
No, there would still be a moral. Listen, even if I didn't believe anything that I said, the claim would still have a category. And the category of this claim is a moral claim, right?
I would put it as political speech. I wouldn't put it as a moral claim. It's disingenuous. They're getting paid. They're not saying it because they actually believe it.
Okay, when you make a claim, right, it's going to be categorized. Do you agree with that? There's going to be categories to claims. This is an empirical claim. Like, hang on. Let me give you some examples. I'm going to give you examples.
I just gave you one. What about movies? Go ahead. Tell me about how movies are so moral.
What would the claim about the movie be? And then I can tell you the category.
Pick any political movie you want.
Okay, what's the claim about it? And then I'll tell you the category the claim goes in. Go ahead.
This is my point. See, you don't even know what you're talking about. You should be able to rattle
What?
off a dozen
What?
political
What do you
movies off
mean?
the top of your head. Pick the
Just-
one you're
just
most
tell me,
comfortable
bro.
with, and then talk about it.
Okay, listen to what I'm saying again. If person make claim, that claim go under category. You just said, what about movies? As though that says something. That says nothing. You have to tell me what the claim would be, and then I'll give you the category of the claim, which is what we're talking about.
Here's the category. It's entertainment. That's the category. Political
What
speech.
the fuck
for
are you
people. That
talking
is
about?
entertainment.
What are you talking? What?
So you're saying
Bro,
entertainment's not a category?
no, what I'm telling you is that if you make a claim about something, a claim, then claims are going to fall under categories. They're going to be empirical claims. They might be ontological claims. They might be etymology-based claims. They could be, I don't know, epistemological claims. They could be all sorts of different claims, right? If you make a claim, it's going to fall under a category. If you make a claim about murder, it can fall under multiple categories. But in the case of the death penalty, it's a moral claim, right?
Again, since we were talking about entertainment and you just rattled off a bunch of stuff, I'm going to respond and say,
God,
I think you missed. I agree with a lot of what you said, but I think you missed one important point. What is the basis of the claim? What is the basis of the claim? What is the intent?
Yes, what's the basis of the claim? Yes, it's a moral claim, right?
And not for everybody. That's my point. If there are people who it's pure entertainment or it's just a job, it isn't. It goes under entertainment.
No, they would still be a claim, which would go under a category even if you didn't believe it. You understand that?
I just think they could
like
go under more than one category.
Like if I just want to, just for the sake of like being the funniest person ever, and just for the sake of entertainment, I posted a claim that women are dumber than men, right? That claim that I'm making still has a category, right?
Okay, but hold on. How are we getting to that category?
Right. Can you just answer the fucking question? Does it have one or not?
I don't have to answer your questions. I don't work for you. Second of all,
I don't have to answer your question.
Let me speak, or there's no reason to be here. Just shut up for a minute.
I don't care, then leave. You don't answer questions anyway. You don't answer questions anyway.
People are going to look at you, and based on you and your public persona, your videos, your tweets, and all that, and that's what's going to help them put it into a category. It doesn't automatically go into a category. You are a factor in that post. And that's
no, all claims go in a category. Yes, all claims go in a category. All claims go in a category. All of them. Every one of them.
I'm not just
all of them go in a category. Okay, great. Great. So, okay, yes, but that was not ever in dispute. You just said, well, it's in an entertainment category. That there's no entertainment claim, bro. That's not a logical claim. That's the entertainment fallacy. Like, what are you talking about? Do you understand when I say it was a moral claim that you're making a moral claim?
Andrew, you're being
disingenuous with logic. Am I out logicking you? I'm sorry.
You're being disingenuous because humor has existed since the dawn of time, and to pretend that there aren't things that go in the category of comedy or entertainment is disingenuous.
Not when it comes to claims. Not when it comes to logical claims. What are you talking about? There's no entertainment claim. What do you mean?
You're saying when The View says things, everybody just takes it at face value?
If they're making a claim on The View, it's going to fall under a claim category, dude. What are you talking about?
And I'm arguing that most people recognize it as entertainment and not political punditry unless you're a moron.
It doesn't matter if it's political punditry or entertainment or whatever. If it's a claim, it has a category that comes along with it. Perhaps it's an empirical claim. Perhaps it's an ontological claim. Like, what do you mean? Claim, right?
Well, again, now you've changed the hypothetical. You've added a study.
A bullshit study that I made up. One that I made up. You know what? The study literally is stamped. This is all satire and bullshit, and I made it the fuck up. It's still an empirical claim, right?
I would hope no one would take it serious as an empirical claim.
Yeah, of course they wouldn't take it seriously, but it's still a type of claim. That's my point. It's still a claim.
I'm saying it's not an empirical claim by your own your own definition. It's not an empirical claim. It's an.
And what else would it be? No, you can't make entertainment claims. What are you
I
talking
just
about?
did, Andrew. I just did.
Okay, you just did. Okay, bro. I'm glad. You know, from now on, I'm just gonna be like, this is an entertainment claim. Can you logically walk through me? I'm making an entertainment claim right now.
I can.
Can
If
you
you'll let me
logically
speak.
walk through my? Can you logically walk through
I
my
can.
entertainment claim?
I already did.
Okay,
I
I
said there
can't
needs,
wait.
hold on. There needs to be a basis for a claim. If the only basis one has is simply to entertain, and most people understand, for example, I don't know, pick your favorite comedian, Jimmy Fallon or whoever, and they go out there and they give those stupid political jokes that they do in the evening. Most people understand those are at least attempts at humor, even if you don't laugh, because I don't laugh and haven't laughed in a long time about these types of jokes. But we still understand as a society those quote unquote claims are simply meant to entertain. When you want to talk about the death penalty, that's significantly more serious than somebody making a joke on Saturday Night Live or the Jimmy Fallon show or whatever.
And it's a moral claim, right?
Not if it's not intended as a moral claim.
Oh, okay. So how else would it be intended? As an entertainment claim?
As humor. As humor.
Oh, as a humor claim. I wasn't aware that you could make entertainment claims. I mean, that's new to me.
It doesn't matter what you know or you don't know. If you want to pretend that you don't believe truly that intent matters when you put something else out into the world, that's on you. But I think I've seen your videos, a few of them. I think you're smart enough to know that intent matters and that you understand what I'm saying is if one person attempts to entertain, that is nowhere near the seriousness of us having a discussion about the death penalty, its ramifications.
That's great, but that just has nothing to do with whether or not these things go in claim categories or not. Just nothing.
Because you would probably dismiss them and you wouldn't worry about being in a claim category.
Yeah, I would dismiss the claim, but it would still go under a specific category, wouldn't it? Right?
Well, make a
and it wouldn't be an entertainment reference, right?
Give us the hypothetical. Let's see where we can put it.
Yeah, sure. I post a bullshit study about men being smarter than women.
And is this the same one with the graph where you've already noted
the
sarcasm?
And then I post ha 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 at the top.
Then most people would reject that as an empirical claim.
I agree. Most people would reject it, but it would still
and it would go to the side.
Yeah, but how would you categorize that as a claim, though? As what?
You wouldn't, because you rejected it as an empirical claim.
Oh my God!
Basically, just go to the garbage.
Whatever you say, dude. Okay, bro. Okay, it's not an empirical claim. I get it. We can make entertainment claims. I'll just, you know what?
Look, it's not.
You're right. This whole thing has been an entertainment claim. It would be an empirical claim. You would just dismiss it.
It's not empirical. If you just make up data, that's not empirical.
Bro, what else would it be?
It's faulty work. That's what it would be.
Yes, I agree. It's faulty work. Yes.
Hold on. Let me give a real example. If you went out,
I can't wait.
Excuse me. If you went out and you counted the unhoused where I live, and you just made up a bunch of data, and then somebody came back and checked your work and found out that you inflated those numbers to get money, that quote unquote empirical claim would be thrown out. It would no longer be in the empirical category because nobody would take it serious.
So wait a second. So you would make a claim of something that would be faulty, and we would say the claim was false. Now, whoa, this is fucking crazy. Tell me more.
Right. So what I'm saying is, just because somebody claims something does not mean.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you think a claim is? It's you presenting something.
I think there needs to be a legitimate argument.
No, that's not a claim. That's not what a claim is, bro.
So where do you put Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel? Where do you put their claims?
Well, it depends on what type of claim they're making.
Well, let's say they're making fun of Trump because that's what they like to do. Where do you put all that stuff, honestly?
It depends. Give me an example of a claim, and I'll tell you the category I'd put it under.
I don't know. They're just making fun of him because of his tan or his hair. One of the two. They're both superficial. What would you do with them?
Well, again, so I'm not sure what type of claim that may fall under off the top of my head, but it would fall under a logical claim. It probably wouldn't be empirical, right? It may be an analytical claim. I'm not exactly sure, but it would fall under a claim category.
Right, and I'm not sure which claim category they would go under either. And that's my point.
Yeah, just
that some
great.
things
Then all
are
you got to
not
do is
easy to
just.
classify.
That's great.
And
I just
we don't
need you
take
to
them
say that it
serious.
is a claim. Yeah, I just need you to say that it is a claim, though. That's all.
But it's not a serious claim.
Yeah, but it is a claim, right?
It's a joke.
But it is a claim.
I guess if they say it's a claim, but I think intent matters, and I
Yeah.
think you're jumping over that part. And they
Yeah, I
intend it to be
agree.
a joke, not a
Yeah,
claim.
but nobody's ever disputing this. Only that claims have categories. So again, we tie this all back to we're having
Well,
a moral
then pick
argument.
a category.
Claim,
Where do you stick it?
then
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I
Pick a
did. I
category.
told you 50 times. It's a moral
No,
claim.
you said it's not
that we're talking
empirical, and
about.
I don't know. Those were your words.
I know. I said maybe analytical. Maybe it's an analytical claim.
Well, maybe it's pretty strong there, Andrew. You might be careful with those words.
Yeah. So wait a second. Okay, it's an analytical claim. Is that better?
If that's
but it's still a claim.
your position.
Yeah. Like if you say Trump has
let's not
orange
waste
hair,
time on this. I'll just concede for you.
No, let's waste time
Let's
on
move
this. No, let's waste time on this. I really enjoy wasting time on this because that it's pointing something out that's pretty obvious, right? The whole time you've been talking smack, right? And you don't know thing one about logical structures at all. Nothing. You just said that there could be entertainment claims. And when I just asked you to just simply clarify that people can make all sorts of absurd claims, but they're still claims and they would go in a category so that we could distinguish that we're talking about a moral category here, you just fought tooth and nail about nothing.
I didn't.
Why?
I added
like, what was even the
important.
purpose?
Hold on.
What was even the purpose?
Important. I added something important that you're just jumping over, and that there must be a basis for the claim that intent matters. I've said that at least 3 times. If you don't agree with that, that's totally fine. But just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that it's not true. We recognize intent. Intent matters when we do things. Intent matters when we say things. Intent is a very important concept.
Yeah, but this was never a dispute. Nobody's disputing whether intent was a concept that we adhere to. It has nothing to do with whether or not claims go in categories.
Hold on, you've been disputing it because you refuse to recognize that one's intent could definitely change what category that it goes in, which was my point to begin with.
As long as you admit it goes in, as long as you admit it goes in a claim category, I'm fine with moving on.
Then we'll put it in the entertainment category and move on.
So it does go in a claim category?
I've already said entertainment category like 3 times.
Is that okay? So there's entertainment claims?
There is now.
Oh, okay. There is now. Got it.
All right. Let me tell you something. Yeah,
so
because something exists for one thing a long time doesn't mean it can't change and it can't evolve. Okay, we can change structures. We can create new categories. It's fine.
I agree. We have a new claim category, the entertainment claim category. So yeah, from now on, when I make logical claims that are absurd, I'll say it's an entertainment claim.
Let me respond to that.
But anyway,
hold on. Most of the time, you don't make those kinds of claims. I give you credit. You don't come out and say stupid things. And that's what I'm distinguishing. I'm distinguishing between someone who makes a legitimate claim, as you most of the time do, and people who say stupid things or make jokes. That's the distinction I'm making. I would take you, when you make a point, as being someone who makes a more serious claim that you should entertain, not just some offhand stupid comment about the fact you don't like Trump's hair. That's the distinction that I'm making.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that's great, but it just had no bearing on what we were talking about. But so anyway, I guess
you've already agreed it does. You've already agreed intent matters. You've already agreed it does.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter to the purpose of whether or not claims have categories, which is all we were trying to establish. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. So back to the death penalty. I just want to let you know that I didn't actually get an answer from you on this question. What would create a justification for the state that the individual wouldn't have, right? So just to make sure I got your position correct, and I'll steel man it, there are instances where individuals can take life and it's justified, right? Or it's never justified to take a life.
The original claim, if I can speak, the original claim was as a Christian, not talking about me, just talking about Christianity.
Okay, when I say you in this sense, I just mean Christians.
I know, but I just want to clarify so people who are listening know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm not saying you, the individual.
I'm saying that as a Christian, no. In either situation, you really don't want to have to do it. If you're forced to do it, the only thing I added was that you would probably want to show repentance to God for taking a life. Forgiveness is an important concept. I would implore everyone to look into it. And I would say that as horrible as a person as they are, for anybody who's never taken a life, who's never served in the military or never been an officer, it stays with you. It's not a joke. And you will, in fact, get on your knees at some point and pray to God that he forgives you 9 times out of 10. Because it is such a serious thing.
Don't you think that there's a category difference between you're a soldier in an army, perhaps drafted, perhaps not, and sent to another country and you're under duress and orders to obey to kill the enemy versus somebody is horribly raping your wife right in front of you and you shoot them when you're talking about justification? I just think these are 2 different categories we should separate out.
They can be, but they can also overlap because you could be a soldier who walks around the corner and sees a woman being brutally raped and have a similar.
Yeah, but why would you ask for forgiveness for that though?
I think you're missing the important aspect here is simply the value.
I sure am.
That's all it is.
I sure.
Yeah,
okay. You agree.
Hold on. If you're a Christian, you value life.
Yeah.
If you value life, having to take life is not something you do easily. It is not something you do simply. It is what distinguishes us from psychopaths, because psychopaths
more moral. Okay, is it more moral in that situation if he won't stop to take his life or to not take his life?
I think ultimately, if he won't stop, that most people would probably take his life.
No, that's not what I asked you. Repeat my question back. Repeat my question back so I know you got it.
I got it. I answered it. That is
then repeat it.
True.
Then repeat it. Then fucking repeat it. Repeat it. Repeat my question.
I don't work for you, Andrew. I'm not.
Yeah, you won't repeat it. Because you didn't answer it.
You oppose this.
Is it more moral?
Most people would probably do it if they had to.
Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't ask you what most people would do. Is it more moral under Christian ethics to let him continue raping your wife or to kill him? Which is more moral?
I've already said most people would kill him.
I didn't ask you what most people would fucking do. Did I say what would most people do? Did I ask you anything about most people? Did I say the word most or people? No, I asked you this question. Is it more moral if there is an individual Christian in that situation for him to take the life or not take the life?
I would say if we're talking about Christianity and God, you would try to do everything you could to not take his life. And there are lots of scenarios where you can do that. But again,
take in the hypothetical.
Ultimately,
oh my God.
If you have
I'm just going to keep asking it until you answer it.
I'm not using the term moral on purpose because
I'm not asking you.
Hold on.
Not asking you what you would do.
You have not acknowledged how valuable human life is, and that taking somebody's life is a big deal. That's the point that I'm making.
So I'm just going to ask.
But the question of morality is murky.
I'll just ask again. Is it more moral in this situation where somebody is violently raping your wife and will not stop, even under duress from you, to take his life or let him continue? Which is more moral?
From a Christian perspective, I would argue you just have to physically remove him and not shoot him. A male that can't handle another man, or are you somebody who can actually fight? That's a factor, right? I mean, I can handle myself, so I'm not worried about walking into that situation not being able to take care of somebody because I did my time in the military. I know how to subdue somebody. I know very well the 3 things they teach is the knees, the ball.
Hang on a second. I want to make sure Andrew's here. Andrew, did you drop? I think Andrew dropped. Okay, I just saw him unmute himself.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Sorry. Right. Yeah, so I'm just, after he's done with his diatribe, I'll just go ahead and ask again until he answers. Go ahead. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead, bro. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, bro.
He's unmuted. I don't know. Hey, you go ahead and speak, man.
No, his mic is muted. There he goes. Okay.
Sorry about that, Andrew. What I'm trying to get at is the reason I'm trying to dance around the morality question is because I think it's complicated. I honestly think as a Christian, unless he's actually trying to kill her, you probably don't have justification to take his life. I don't think that's what Jesus would do. But I said, but if you're asking me as a man, I probably would. And there's a distinction there because life is valuable and we're not supposed to take life as Christians. I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm just arguing from a Christian perspective that we're not supposed to kill people.
I'm not asking what you would do. So I'll make it as uncomplex as possible. Okay. You are transported by fucking aliens into an alien ship. Okay. And there's an alien rapist raping your wife, and they just want to do a social experiment for funsies. The first one, you push the button, and alien rapist dies. Wife stops getting raped. Button 2, okay, he continues until completion. What's the more moral button to push?
That's an interesting hypothetical I've never heard before, Andrew. But
yeah,
I would
it's
say
impossible for you to evade. It's impossible for you to evade.
Well, no, it is because the answer doesn't change because you change the rules of the hypothetical. You just like to play games. As I said,
which button do you push?
As a Christian, you're not supposed to kill people. So if you're asking me from a Christian perspective,
which button should the Christian push? Which button should the Christian push?
The second button.
The button that kills the guy.
No, that was the first button.
Okay, the first button. So if the Christian should let his wife get raped to completion. I just want to make sure I got that right.
I think if you read the Bible, that's what it says. I'm not saying
I just want, well, wait. How do you not agree with what Christians are supposed to do if you're a Christian?
I already told you, I know I'm going to hell. It wouldn't be a problem for me. I would handle.
So then you're not a Christian?
I believe in God. I believe my family and my children and my wife come first, and I would do what I had to do to protect my children, even if
to get this right, God commands you to do this, but you wouldn't do it because God's wrong.
If that's what I had to do, and He wants to send me to hell for it, that's just the way that it is.
And so you think the most moral thing a Christian could do is let wife get raped to completion. Otherwise, you might risk going to hell, and you would definitely ignore that unjust God's command because you don't agree with it. Is that right? Do I have this right?
Well, hold on. First of all, you're using a word we hadn't talked about before. You're saying an unjust God. If we're talking about God, the Christian God, I don't think you can automatically throw in unjust God. It
must be unjust if He's telling you to do shit that you refuse to do because you don't think it's just. I don't know how
it just means I'm not a good and faithful servant.
Okay, so you're not a Christian then.
Not in that
like situation. You would violate. Like you would, so you would purposely violate Christian ethics. So basically, you think God wants you in that situation under Christian ethics to let your wife get raped until completion. That's what you actually think that He wants. But you wouldn't do that, of course, because you're just not a good enough Christian.
That's absolutely correct, Andrew. I'm not a good enough Christian to allow.
I'm good with this combo, bro. I appreciate your time.
So because I don't agree with you, you're just done? Okay.
No, I think that that's a perfectly good place to leave this as a conclusion.
Well, why don't you give me some scripture that says I'm wrong?
Why I don't, dude. If it is the case that you can logically come to the conclusion that you would contradict a commandment you believe that God gave you because it's unjust and allow your wife to get raped by not allowing your wife to get raped to completion, if you can stop it, then I don't think I even need to demonstrate anything further than that.
Well, first of all, so you like to play with language because I don't think we're done. You said you keep changing terms. Stop it. Stop it could mean all kinds of things. You could wrestle someone to the ground. You could have a gun. You could have a bat. You could stop it. You're intertwining stop it with killing someone, and that's the point I'm making. Is that there's a difference, and when you take a life, it's serious business. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's serious business. I get it.
I don't think you do. And I'm going to guess if you served in the military, you didn't have to take anybody's life. Because if you did, your tone would be a little bit different. But setting aside your personal experience.
Wait. How would my code be different? So I would kill a rapist who was raping my wife. You would kill a rapist who's raping your wife. You served in the military and killed people, but I didn't serve in the military and kill people. So how would my code be different again, dude?
Your code would be different, as I've said multiple times, that after you take the life, you show repentance and you go to God and you ask for forgiveness, even if it's what He wanted you to do, to say, I humble myself to you, God. I did this horrible thing. It's what I felt I needed to do. Please forgive me for taking a life. That's the difference. I don't know why you can't get that or refuse to acknowledge that life is really important and taking life is a horrible thing. I'm not saying we shouldn't take it, and I'm not even against the death penalty or if we have to fight in a war, World War II was a just war as an example.
I know, bro. The perfect Christian lets his wife get raped to completion if he has to kill a rapist. I get it. I understand.
I'm saying, tell me where I'm wrong.
Listen, I am perfectly happy leaving the conversation there. I'll let your position stand on its own merits.
I know, but I'd like you to tell me where I'm wrong. If you disagree with me,
I could. Well, here's the thing.
If you've changed your hypothetical and you
said here's the thing, though,
and he's going to kill her, that changes the hypothetical.
Here's the thing. Like, I could, but what's the point? It's way better to just let this absurdity stand on its face for people to listen to later. So I'm happy where the conversation ended up, and I appreciate your time.
Yeah, play games, Andrew. That's how you are. You can't bring a whole argument. That's it. I waited. I'm waiting for you to refute my claim, and you haven't refuted it yet. So in essence, I won because my original claim was that as a Christian,
take your W, bro.
You're
right. Take your W. A perfect Christian lets his wife get raped to completion if he has to kill a rapist. Take your W.
And I'm not saying I like that. I'm just saying
I know.
where I'm wrong.
I know. What do I do? I'll just let your claim stand, bro.
Why can't you argue against it? Why can't you go to the Bible and say, here's what I think?
Do you realize that I don't need to argue a position you yourself don't believe?
I realize we're here to have argument and discussion, which is why I came on the show.
I don't need to argue. Listen, I already argued you into the absurdity of your position. There's nothing else I need to do here.
It's not
my work here, sir. My work here, sir, is done. Nobody listening to this believes that you believe that, because you wouldn't even do it yourself. They don't even believe you, bro.
I said I wouldn't do it myself. I'm just.
I know they don't. None of them believe you. None of them believe that you think the perfect Christian lets his wife get raped to completion rather than kill the rapist. Nobody believes you. Nobody.
But then
why do I need to correct? Why do I need to correct this absurdity when I can just let it stand on its own?
Because why do I need to correct a larger point? So when you do that, then what happens? You refuse to acknowledge that if you killed somebody, you probably need forgiveness.
What? Well, then that would mean that it was unjustified.
Yes, but you keep using that word to back up your claim based in philosophy. There's lots of different meanings of justified. So just because you pick a meaning doesn't mean
you justify. Okay, well, I justify everything based on God. How about you?
I already did. I argued that I don't believe in the Christian Bible. And
if it's
or anybody,
that's right.
There's 167 people listening. If there's anybody who can find a passage and say, "Here's where you're wrong, sir,"
no, bro.
There's happy to admit that I'm wrong.
No, you're wrong.
Simply saying
700. There's 700 people listening.
On my thing, it just says what I'm looking at says 168, but that could be something else. Sorry.
You might need to refresh. Yeah, there's.
No, I think it's actually just something else. I apologize. I'm not trying to give wrong numbers or anything, but all I'm suggesting is all these people listening, if somebody could
see how I corrected. See how you made a. See how you made an empirical claim. Do you see how you made an empirical claim and I corrected it because it was false? Do you see that?
But it's not false.
Your respond if you found out your biological father was a paying member of your OF and using a fake name. For the two OF girls, go ahead.
I don't think my father would ever do that, but if he did, I'd definitely be. I don't even know what I would do if I found that out. Honestly, that's kind of
like, what do you do?
That's really disturbing, but my father would never.
Would that be enough to take down your OnlyFans?
No.
I mean, it's incestual.
It's enough to block him.
What about you?
So my dad doesn't have social media. Like he's like 60, so like he doesn't even do social media like that.
What? What if he?
What would I do if he was on my OnlyFans? I would quit so quick.
Wait, hold on. He's got a.
Just wanted to ask you a quick question.
Breakfast?
Yeah, I do have to ask. Did you have breakfast this morning?
Did I have what?
Sorry. Did you have breakfast this morning?
Breakfast?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had breakfast.
How would you feel if you didn't have breakfast this morning?
How did I feel?
How would you feel if you didn't have breakfast this morning?
Probably hungry.
Okay.
Right? I had lunch too, so because I didn't get here till 4.
That's a softer version of the question I wanted to try out. This whatever. So I appreciate it.
No, thank you too. I am a little lost.
Well, it's my own. Now it's my own experiment, so don't even worry about it. But anyway, so back to this. We know that your dad does not and would not ever, right? But assuming that he did, hypothetically, what would you do?
I think he's talking about you because I don't know if my dad would. I didn't even grow up with my dad.
He is talking to you.
Oh, you're talking to me. I don't know. Yeah, I just pray. No, I was talking to her, but I just pray that that would never happen. I mean, I've blocked my dad since I've known him. I would definitely block him again and never speak to him.
In some wild, different life, he did. Just say he did. What would your reaction be?
I just don't think that it would be very good. I mean, my base answer is I would block him. That's what I'll say here. I would block him, and I would never.
From your life?
For life.
Yeah, that's really disturbing to know that.
From your life.
Yeah,
from my
from your
entire
life.
life.
It's really disturbing to think about your father looking at your OnlyFans.
My DNA father was on my OnlyFans that it says that I should do. So wouldn't that be that crazy?
Yeah.
No, I didn't grow up with my dad. I met him at 25. So this is a really weird question for me. Like, I don't know what I would do. I would block him. That's what I would do. I would block him forever. And then I would pretend that he's not my dad.
I have a follow-up question to this. Would you object to a father abandoning, or what? I don't know if what the right term is, abandoning. Would you object to a father disowning is the right word, his daughter for doing sex work?
I don't object to it. My dad didn't. That's not how he reacted to it, but I know a lot of fathers who did, and it's not because they don't like their daughters. It's just because they want more for their daughters than what they're doing. So I can understand if a father did.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with her.
Well, they're bringing shame to their family name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, while my father, that's not the way he reacted. I know a couple fathers who have reacted like that to their daughter doing the things that they're doing, and I can understand. I'm glad my father
thankfully,
didn't.
We have families that understand.
Accepting fathers.
Well, no, I wouldn't say thankfully. I would say that that's a bad thing. But
I'm grateful.
Why is that a bad thing that our fathers just accepted us for who we are and what we do as adults?
Well, because they're enabling you to do something which is
we are now
not only
adults.
horrible for you, but for society.
It's something they can't change because we are now adults. So whether they want us to do it or not, it's our decision. So how is that?
I don't disagree that it's your decision.
How is it bad? I don't think he's enabling
it.
it. My dad's not enabling it. My dad did tell me, I don't want that for you. I do want better for you, but I'm not gonna disown you. I'm not gonna love you less because that is what you do.
So there's no consequence.
Why should there be?
Well, there should be, because
I mean, what can the consequence
for
be?
this, it would be the same exact reason.
I think the consequence.
Do you want to hear the answer or not?
I'm going to tell you right now. I think our consequence.
I'm guessing you don't want to hear the answer.
No, I don't. I'm going to tell you what our.
No, I know
what
you
I
don't.
feel.
Religious view.
Our consequences are that there are certain guys that won't want to date us because we do have an OnlyFans, and that is our consequence. I don't think. I don't think,
deeper.
And I understand that. I know that there are some guys that don't want to date me because I have an OnlyFans. 100% understandable personal preference. But I don't think that the punishment should come from the parents, if that makes sense.
Who should it come from?
I think our consequence is that we might not be able to attract what we want because we have an OnlyFans. I don't think it should have anything to do with our parents.
It could be deeper.
Yeah, but your parents. Okay, so whose opinion and weight do you put a more value on?
I'm going to tell you one thing right now.
Let me finish the question. Strangers who either watch you in lingerie on the internet or your parents. Whose opinion do you value more?
I don't honestly value anyone's opinion at a high level.
You don't value your own parents' opinion?
I value it, but it's just an opinion to me. Like, I keep it in mind, but it's not something I act on.
So you would value your parents' opinion more than a stranger's opinion,
It's not something I act on, though. It's just not.
I'm not asking whether you act on it. I'm asking you whether you value it more than a stranger's.
I value it to a certain point, but only to a certain point.
More than a stranger's.
I guess.
Yeah, if you value it more than a stranger's opinion, then if your parents are giving you negative reinforcement towards this, then it might inform your opinion against it.
No one said anything about negative fucking reinforcement.
I just said something about
Yeah, you
fucking
did.
negative
You
fucking
did.
reinforcement.
You did.
So when you say nobody said anything about it,
You
you're
did.
wrong. I just said something
You did.
about it. And
Well,
what
you're
I'm
nobody
saying
to
is
me.
that
You're nobody
if your
to me.
parents give you negative reinforcement towards negative things that they perceive as being negative,
I just said
and
to
you
you-
value their opinion more than a stranger's, you
I
might
just
listen
said to
it.
you, my father told me he doesn't agree with it, but he's not going to love me less because of it. That's
Love
like,
you less does
Are you
not mean that he
joking?
can't give you consequences for the action.
Why the
I'm not
fuck would
asking
my-
Hey,
him
well,
to
stop interrupting.
disengage.
Let him finish.
why would
I'm
my
not asking your father to disengage from loving you. What I'm saying is that, are you listening to what I'm saying? Stop. Don't talk. Listen, and then I'll
consequences
listen
my
to you.
father
Hang on.
supposed
Stop.
to
Hey,
give me?
stop,
I'll listen
No,
to you.
fuck your question.
If you
I'll
listen
listen.
to me.
No. Hey, hold on.
leave.
Stop. You're gonna stop. If he's talking, let him finish. When
And
you're
then I'll
talking,
let you finish. Yeah,
Go-
I'll
go
let you
ahead.
finish after I finish.
Go ahead,
So
Andrew.
anyway, your father.
Hey, no. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I'm not
Give me that.
asking him to
Give me
stop
that.
loving you.
Okay, well,
that would be
take here.
I'm not touching it.
No, but you've been playing with it this whole fucking show. It's making noise. Just throw it over back there. Go ahead, throw it.
I mean, it's really not that deep, but
You don't have to throw it. I could have hold it.
Anyway, I'm not
You
asking
got.
him to stop loving you.
Hold on here just a sec. Hold on here just a sec.
Number 23. Just kidding.
You got a bad attitude.
Yeah, I do.
Why is that?
Because I'm pissed.
Why are you pissed?
How are you gonna tell me that my father should give me whatever you said,
How would you know?
consequences?
You can't listen.
How is my father supposed to give me consequences as a 21-year-old? Like, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I'm 21. I'm an adult. I'm gonna get my own consequences.
Maybe
How
you
would you
behave
even
like
know
this
what I
I'm
had
gonna
to
because
say?
he didn't
You
do
can't
it.
Shut your mouth long enough to listen.
I'm gonna get my own consequences. My father doesn't need to give me consequences. I'm an adult.
Doc Venabilis donated $100.
Both of these things can
if
be
my
true at the
daughter
same
was
time.
an OF, it means I failed as a father. I would make amends by physically blocking her access by all means possible. Only way she does it is over my dead body or my being in jail.
Now, that might be an extreme version of this, but what I'm saying is that if somebody, let's pretend for a second that you were a murderer. Let's just pretend for a second that you were, and your father's against murder. He would still love you even if you were a murderer, but that doesn't mean he would reinforce your choice to be a murderer, and he may do things like distance himself, push you away, things like this, until you reconciled this immoral thing which you were doing, correct?
I mean, I guess if that's who you are as a person.
You have to get to the microphone.
If you're gonna abandon your child or distance yourself from your child because of something they're doing or a choice they made as an adult,
Yeah.
what does that say about you?
It says that I'm willing to enforce consequences for my morality. That's what it says about me.
That's bullshit.
What does
Why?
it say about a child who would bring shame on their family by stripping on the internet?
I'm
What
an
does it say about
adult.
them?
I'm not a child. I'm
Thank
an
you for
adult.
saying stripping and not
Yeah, I know
prostitution.
you're. I know you're not my child. I didn't say you were. What I'm saying is, what does it say about a child who's willing to shame their family by stripping on the internet? Why should they have some luxury from their parents? They shouldn't. They
done
should
talking
get
to
pushed
you.
away. They should be
I'm
beaten up
done
about
talking
it.
to you.
What's that?
What?
I'm done talking to you.
Why? Well, I'm sorry. Are you having trouble engaging because you've never had pushback to your 304
No, I'm having
ideology? You never
trouble
had pushback to
engaging.
your
Do you have
304
a daughter?
ideology before?
Do you
ever?
have a daughter?
It's never happened before.
Do you have a
Everyone
daughter?
just kisses your ass.
Do you have a daughter?
Yeah, I have many daughters.
Okay, then go teach your daughter how to be your daughter. I'm not your daughter, so stop trying to
I
teach
didn't
me
say
how
that
to be
you were my
your
daughter. I'm having an argument with
Then
you,
stop.
dummy.
Then stop trying to tell me what kind of consequences my dad should give me. Shut the front fucking door.
Well, I just fucking did. And I enjoyed
And
doing
I don't-
it. And
and
if
I
your
don't
dad was
give
in the
a
room,
fuck
I'd tell
what
him he
you
was a
have to
shit
say.
father. He was a
Oh,
shit
that's
piece of
great. I'm
shit
sure you
father
and
is
my
what I
dad
tell
would
him.
get into it.
Shut the fucking front door.
Literally.
Seems very defensive, though.
Who does?
The young lady here, Leslie.
Yeah, I really could give a fuck less.
I understand,
Especially
but
what you have to say. Thank you.
What? You,
Yeah, I'm serious.
Hey, be a little more respectful to the other panelists. Be a little dead ass. I don't care about dead ass.
Serious. You guys are disrespectful.
A live ass.
You guys are disrespectful.
You said you were going to be my Caucasian.
I am your Caucasian. That does not mean that doesn't mean I'm their Caucasian. I'm not. I'm just not.
But you're being very rude to Shadow.
I didn't ask for her input, did I?
In fact, she's been very polite to you this
care.
entire show.
I didn't ask for
she
her
did
input.
some counter spells.
Me and Andrew were having
She did
a
some counter
conversation,
spells for you tonight.
Which I can actually at least respect him for at least having that conversation with me instead of being
You've been
rude.
super rude to him.
I have been rude because I don't agree with what he has to say. I don't. And that's
fine.
fair.
I'm not offended.
It is a debate.
I'm not even offended.
It's a friendly debate.
I'm just saying how I feel.
It's a friendly debate.
I do get a little heated. It is a debate. I'm not even mad right now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
What's the longest relationship you've ever been in?
5 years.
5 years.
Ooh,
That's
can
long,
we get
dude.
some? Can we get some like something in the chat for? He dated you for?
He did, and he actually is actively in my
that.
messages, still wanting me back.
He wants you back?
Yes.
Did you act like this with him?
Yes, he knows who I am as a person. He understands why I am like this.
It stings.
He understands.
Oh, you were like this with your 5-year relationship.
I was.
Oh my God, it hurts.
Okay.
Can we get some?
It's a debate.
Can we get some RIPs?
We're all debating.
What was your ex-boyfriend's name?
I'm not disclosing that. I'm sorry.
His name is freaking Chad.
Can we get some RIPs in the chat for Les's ex-boyfriend? RIPs in the chat for her ex-boyfriend. Okay, let me pull up these chats here. Unless you guys want to continue talking.
I'm actually just kind of ready to have my phone and leave.
I'm kind of ready to have my phone and leave.
I am.
You okay?
No.
You want to talk about it?
Not really.
Hey, you're not mad. You're not mad.
I'm not. I'm just done.
Put a split on me here. I'll have a little back and forth here. You
You just
okay,
serenade
Leslie? You okay?
I'm fine, Brian.
You're not yourself
Not
when you're hungry.
tonight. Do you want to feed
Do you want a
me?
Snickers?
We need a Snickers.
Yeah, do you want to feed me?
You're not yourself when
When
you're
you don't have
hungry.
a Snickers.
How's it go? How's that fucking go?
I don't know, but it's something with the Snickers.
You okay, Leslie? You need a little
Are you done?
snack?
You
or-
think it's funny?
It's a little funny.
Oh, really?
This is like baby talk or something.
wanna-
I don't
So
like
can
it.
I have my phone so I can leave?
You're gonna leave?
I think I am.
Are you rage quitting? I thought
I'm not even rage quitting.
I thought we were
I'm
homies.
just-
At least stay for these 2 chats, Leslie. Excuse me. Yes, it's for the OF girl with a father who supports her step grandfather, preacher, and mother. That might be a 3FO. My last comment. So is that
What was
for
his
you?
last comment?
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's for me, but what was his last comment? Fathers of daughters.
Part of her father, the businessman, part her mother. Is your mother a 3FO? Stop defending her for her failures. First step, your therapist should have. Do you want to respond to?
I don't want anyone to speak about my mother. Like I said, that
okay,
she
all
had
right.
her own issues and she wasn't able to work through them.
All right, I'll read this.
people-
These kind of, oh my God, this is coming from all directions in Minnesota, hence my scared neighbors, pagan sheep and goats. What the fuck is going on tonight?
Is it
Thank
because
God
of
my
accent?
boys still bait and don't fall to this D-Gen, aka Pinky's BS. Did you just burp?
I did.
Okay.
God damn.
Hell yeah.
You should not have to put up with this type of disrespect on your show, Brian. It's unbelievable.
You know what? You're right, Andrew.
Hey, I can handle that for you. You hand me my phone, and I'll walk out that door.
I mean, I'll give you your phone, but I want you to stay for the last segment here.
Why
and
is
then
that?
We're almost done. We gotta save the best for the last. And then we're done. Hey, and then we'll smoke.
B&A, keep up the fight. All right, let me get these chats. We have your father didn't. Oh my God, dude. Raphael,
Who's
donating from a different region. Let me just. Okay, Raphael, I am very appreciative of your support. I think what I need to say though, it's 50 USD. Because it's just that's fair to the other chatters. From here on out, 50 USD and up to read. If he used a fake name, he could and probably would just use a different fake name and just come right back on. And if you truly find that repulsive, you should close down your OF immediately because I'm sure there's far worse on there right now.
Far worse than your father being on your OnlyFans.
David Pekins.
I don't know. It depends on whose perspective you're coming from, I guess.
Is this how you normally are? No.
Leslie, was your first experience here, was it a lot better?
Yeah,
it was. I've never watched the podcast. I didn't want to freak myself out. I was like, oh, they accept OnlyFans girls on.
No, I actually had a good
I'm like,
time
so I'm gonna get
the
clowned
first
on a
time.
little bit. It's fine.
Going around the table, what does everybody think of men? Starting with you, go ahead.
They're just men.
What is...
Men?
Do you like men?
I mean, I don't dislike men because I'd be sleeping with them, so I can't say I hate them, right? Because then that would be a lie, right?
I didn't say that.
No, we've been talking about it the whole fucking podcast.
Okay. So, you don't have any positive feelings towards men, though?
She doesn't hate them. Your question was, your question was, how does she feel about men? Sorry.
Yeah, how do you feel about men?
Indifferent. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer the question?
Indifferent?
I don't really have anything against men, I guess.
Right. Do you want to answer the question, though?
I did. I don't have
How do
anything
you-
against men. I don't hate them.
Okay.
I don't particularly fucking favor them because they're douche canoes. But it's perfectly fine.
Don't you think that's a bit misandrist? Don't you think that's a bit misandrist? Do you even know what misandrist means?
No.
It's like
You don't. Do you know what misogyny means?
Yes.
What's the definition of
I
misogyny?
don't know the fucking definition, bro.
I thought you knew what misogyny
Misogyny
means.
is like, let me.
No. I wasn't asking you.
I wasn't gonna give a good answer. Andrew Tate. Sorry.
Thank you for that contribution.
Since you put him on my head earlier.
Just tell me what the word you're asking
You
means.
well, I'm asking you. You said you know what misogyny means. So what does it mean? You.
What do you? I don't. I'm not really interested in answering any more questions. If I'm being honest, I answered it how I needed to answer it. I don't.
Why is that? Why are you not cool with answering any more questions?
I'm just over it.
You're over it?
Yeah.
Why? Because Andrew gave you a marginal amount of pushback on your worldview?
No, I'm just done. I'm not gonna give you guys anything else to use as fuel to attack me.
Well, I'll ask you a couple questions to see if we can, and we'll go around the table after I do that. Can you be sexist towards men?
I already said that last podcast. Yes.
Not everybody was watching that one.
Yes.
Can you
think you can be.
Can you be racist towards white people?
Yes.
Do white people have culture?
Have culture?
Culture, yeah.
Culture?
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Maybe a little bit.
A little bit of culture?
Yeah. But not
Do other
a party culture?
people have more culture?
Yeah.
Like what groups?
Like Indians, Mexicans. I feel like they just have more like
Culture.
their own, yeah.
And
thing
white
going.
white people don't have a culture?
I mean, a little bit, but they kind of
just a little bit.
fall in line.
Maybe it's you're just not aware of
Holidays.
the culture.
Maybe.
So if you're leaning towards a maybe, or just a no culture.
No, maybe.
Let's see. Are you a feminist?
No.
No.
Anything else?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I mean, you're not really engaging.
I mean, I was, but I got shot down too many times. So.
Until
Nobody
she heard
nobody
3 or 4
shot
of
you
them.
down.
Kinda did,
Andrew.
though.
Andrew.
Not only you guys, but multiple comments as well. So it's kind of like.
Do you think you did anything to elicit that?
I got mad. Yeah, of course I did. Why the fuck wouldn't I? Why the hell wouldn't I get mad after being called out of name?
Seems like you're kind of just trying to play this up a little bit.
Play what up? Like, why wouldn't someone feel disrespected? If I feel disrespected by someone, it's kind of like I'm put off.
Have you ever been on the internet before?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, you've never been insulted on the
No, I
internet?
have, but to be called a 304...
Did we tell you before the show to...
When you guys don't even know who I am, but to call me a 304 based on what? Because I have an OnlyFans page. Why don't you guys go sub to that OnlyFans page?
Kill of Cereal donated $100. Pick 6 feet 1 inch tall, 180K a year, 10 inches PP, with a twisted world outlook and a negative attitude, or 5 feet 2 inches tall, 30K a year, 4 inches PP, with a positive world outlook and oozes confidence and swagger. And why?
Okay, we'll start with you. We'll go around.
5'2", 3K a year, 4-inch fucking penis. As long as they have a good
It's okay.
personality.
I mean, average is 5.
What about you?
And have you actually ever dated anybody? like
Yeah,
that?
actually I have. The guy I'm talking to is actually very sweet.
And he has a 4-inch peepee?
And he's 5'2".
Okay, I'm actually not talking about the size of his penis on the internet.
You said he's just like that.
No, he is. I'm not gonna give you guys his penis size. Like that's just TMI. That's not.
Well,
my,
is he 5'2"?
No, no. But like I'm still gonna choose that over a guy who has no fucking personality.
Yeah, but you can understand the skepticism if you've never actually dated a guy who has.
I've dated a short guy. I
5'2"?
don't know. Yeah, when I was probably I was probably 17. Not 5'2", but definitely a shorter guy. He's not extra tall, barely taller than me. I was probably his height.
Yeah, so you've never dated anybody who actually fit the criteria, though, right?
Whatever, dude.
I mean,
I'm sorry, 3
not
inches
even,
off.
I'm not even saying anything mean.
Off,
I'm just asking.
3 inches off is just so crazy. That's like not even fitting the criteria. He's short, but he's not short enough to fit the criteria.
Did you get detention a lot in high school?
Yes.
Do you have behavioral issues?
No.
Well, I think you do.
I don't.
You don't?
She just doesn't deal with any shit. Like, it's California. I live in Florida, and I'm from Kentucky and Arkansas.
I'm not sure how that's relevant.
It's
but
crazy here.
It's crazy in California.
I think, and it's overpopulated also.
So wait, going around the table on the question. So it's like attractive guy, bad personality, unattractive guy, great personality.
I'll take the unattractive one, no personality. I'm old. I don't need sex no more like that.
Go ahead.
I like personality for sure.
The latter option. Same personality. I lucked out though. He's very attractive.
Can I
With a
ask
great
why I'm the
personality.
only one who got questioned about that?
About what?
Why I would date a shorter guy, or why I wouldn't date a shorter guy? Like, why am I the only one getting interrogated about the questions we're asking?
You've invoked the wrath of the.
No, like genuinely though, like that's. But then you guys say that I get mad, like
The
y'all are
commenters-
picking on me, and then you wonder why I get
What was
defensive.
asked that was actually offensive?
So people just want a reaction.
Shut up.
If you get them a reaction, then
No, you shut up.
you
Answer
shut
the
up.
Question. What?
You shut up.
What
Like,
was
I
what was
didn't
asked
you
that was
a
actually
fucking
offensive?
God, here we go.
I asked Brian a question. I didn't ask you
God.
shit.
Stop spurging and just answer.
No,
What
I
was
can say
asked that was
whatever the fuck
actually
I want.
offensive?
it's all good.
Oh wait, Matthew, hey Andrew and
actually
Brian.
crazy.
I appreciate what you guys do. Also new to the channel, Miss Pink Switter. You say they are douches, but they make you money by watching your degenerate content.
Who? Oh, guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
that doesn't make them not douchebags.
Good times.
So
And
why
let's be real.
Why am
'cause
I not like?
Why are you not what?
You guys are so heavy, like
Thank you,
picking on
Matthew.
me, but like I try to leave, and you guys are like, "Oh no, come back." If I leave, what are you guys gonna
It's because
have
you're
to
innocent.
fucking?
Yeah, because you're having a tantrum.
Exactly.
You're having
What
a tantrum.
What kind of entertainment are you guys gonna get if I leave? That's why you guys keep me around. Like that's actually embarrassing. You guys keep me around to pick on me, and then you get mad when I get fucking pissed.
No, it's called-
actually fucking disrespectful as fuck.
Babe.
You're losing it,
Well,
bro.
who's that more
You're
embarrassing?
fucking.
am.
You're
Who's
tilted, bro.
around?
Chill the
I
fuck out.
am, because it's
Babe.
bullshit.
Babe, it's mostly
No.
the comments and
You're
then
t-
they
Honestly,
come off
it's
the comments.
fine. I don't care. But like, if you guys are gonna
I
ask
get
a
it.
question and you guys are gonna pick on me, like, interrogate them, bro. Like, I don't know why it's just me. Yeah, I'm giving you a reaction, but like, fuck, leave me the
Damn.
fuck alone.
You're kind of masculine as fuck right now, dude.
Yeah, leave me
Chill
the
out.
hell alone, bro. Like,
Chill
y'all
out.
interrogating me so heavy.
I don't understand what was asked that was offensive though. About
No. We went around the table. I got interrogated about the fucking question for like 5 minutes. We go around the table. No one else get asked a second question about this fucking question. It's kind of like,
Well, you
y'all,
don't know
y'all
that.
find
We
it
didn't
funny
go
to
all the way
fucking pick
around
on
and
me.
get
That's the
into it.
fucking part that I'm like, that's just
Nobody's
disrespectful.
picking on you, bro.
It's the commenters. It's mostly the commenters, and then they read
Okay.
it, and then
No, y'all are just.
and then they're men. Like,
y'all are just.
and they're Christians, right? Y'all are Christian men,
Is this 304?
He is,
rage?
right? Are you
Is
guys
that what
Christian
this
men?
looks like?
right? They're not. They bring Christians on. So I just thought there's someone's a Christian here, right? Between you or you, the two men. Who's a Christian?
Andrew is.
Because we're bringing the
why it's
debates
like
on
that.
like
That's
the
Whoa,
why
bully
OnlyFans and the
much.
Christians.
Not
so-
engaging. She's basically the only one speaking, as you or Andrew would say to your guests. Be better and have respect when you speak to other people. I don't know if it's. I think this is directed at me and Andrew. Okay, cool. I guess.
Thank you.
I think you kind of started.
I think I've been carrying this
Bender
whole
the
fucking
offender donated
conversation.
She had a
$100.
fit first, but
For a
like
woman who self-proclaimed she
she's
was
a
a
young woman,
princess,
and-
you sure do have the mouth of a lowly peasant with no class whatsoever.
Womp womp.
Yeah, you said you were a princess. You're like, I don't know. It's,
Until
it's like
I'm
court jester.
until I'm disrespected. I
Court
already
jester.
said that.
at
there's
best.
different types of princesses.
Yeah, if you
just to be real.
disrespect me, I already told you, bro. It's all fucking bets out the window. I don't play that shit.
You
If
have
I
to
feel
stand up
like
for yourself.
I'm
You
rubbed
don't play that shit?
If I'm rubbed the wrong way and you're disrespecting me and you think it's
Rubbed the
funny,
wrong
like
way?
yeah, obviously I'm gonna get pissed. I'm not gonna fucking speak like a princess. Like y'all got me bent. It's not even funny.
Bent?
Yeah, bent, Brian.
Bent?
Brian.
You're bent.
Bro,
I'm
why
29,
you-
so I don't know what
why
that
you
means, but I think you're
looking at
bent in
me
half.
like that.
Like,
Why am I
You want to
freaking?
fuck me? What?
Can I go?
Ugh, dude.
Why am I?
You're
here?
freaking out.
Why are you even? Did you call me dog?
I did.
You call me dog?
double layer.
You call me dog?
I did.
You call me dog?
Dog. Yeah. Why am I here, bro?
Debates get heated.
Is that like a philosophical question? Why am I even? Why are we here? Is that what's the point of life? You good? You okay? Do you want a snack?
Smoke?
Can we get some of her applesauce? Can we get her a little applesauce?
I thought you said
I think she's
do you want
her
to
blood
smoke?
sugar's a little bit maybe a little applesauce. No, it's okay. Never mind. It's okay. Never mind. She's good. Why are you looking at me that way, bro? Stop. You're. Oh.
Remember when that nice lady made the whatever cookies? Do you still have any of those whatever cookies and spike the blood sugar a little bit?
Oh, you mean Madison?
No. That nice lady who baked the whatever cookies that had the whatever logo on them.
Yeah, those are gone, unfortunately.
Oh, that's too bad.
Unfortunately, well, Leslie, you okay?
I'm fine.
You doing okay?
I told you I'm just done, bro.
Do you want to take a nap?
We're about to get stoned.
Can you guys, somebody get her, maybe you want the blanket? You want to take a little nap under the table?
You know, realistically, it's 1 o'clock where I'm from. Just to be real. I know you said people complain about
Hey, it doesn't-
flying. I'm complaining about the time change and flying.
Do you want
Both.
to take a little nap?
Do you have questions for anyone else besides me, or am I gonna carry this whole show, bruh?
You're not really.
Yeah, I feel like
I
you haven't
really
asked that
am,
many
though.
questions to like a few people here, and then like the OnlyFans girls, like we're getting a little
Yeah, like,
targeted.
we're getting
which all the
fucking
commenters they love
the
coming for
absolute
the
wrath,
OnlyFans girls, but
bro.
talk to the other people that are here. Like we've been talking,
What's that?
we've been grilled.
Yo, shout out to Rachel Wilson.
Rachel Wilson.
Yo, shout out Rachel Wilson. Thank you for the membership. Appreciate it. Hold on. Let me see what other questions I had here. You seem a little. Are you okay?
Brian, I'm fine. Just
doing
like
okay?
stop fucking. Like I don't know
You doing
why.
okay?
He's antagonizing.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
know, I know,
antagged.
100. Like he thinks
Maybe
he
just a little
definitely
bit.
like thinks it's funny, and I'm
Just
just like,
ignore it. Just
Look,
ignore
you've
it.
been so disrespectful the
laughing?
entire time.
I wonder why though. Like I
Maybe
really
it's
do.
you.
I wonder.
Maybe it's-
Was I
I
like
think
this
it's
last
you.
time? Was I like this last time, Brian?
No, you weren't.
Exactly. So was it really me?
Now, you've brought this to light. You've given.
But why am I being like this? I don't appreciate being called a 304. That's so disrespectful. That was disrespectful. Especially,
say it.
Hey,
I didn't say that.
Okay, no, I'm trying to explain to you. And if you were to go to my OnlyFans page and look at this,
I'm good. I'll pass.
Okay,
I'm a
not
pass.
saying you're going
Thank
to.
you for the. I'm good.
Brian.
I'm good.
Brian,
I'm a pass.
are you gonna listen?
I'm listening.
You wanted
I'll
you
listen.
wanted me to stop cutting you guys
Okay,
off,
go
right?
ahead. I give you permission. You can talk.
So if you guys were to go to my OnlyFans page and see me in a fucking bikini,
I'm good.
bro, that's like that's like posting on Instagram. Yeah, it's not traditional or whatever, but
Get rid of this shit, bro.
you can't call me a whore for posting bikini pics,
nobody called
bro.
you
Like
that.
a 304, that's literally what a whore is.
Babe, so we
Like,
do. I post my nudes on my feed, but we do our things different. You do nudes, but so like
No,
so.
Killer
I'm sorry, I don't do
donated
nudes.
Like in the DMs for my
You're
nudes.
so entitled you had to cut off the other lady's answer halfway through to throw another accusatory tantrum. You want
Is this
us
a
to
rage
have
quit?
all others talk
Rage
when
quit.
you can't
It's not a
wait to
rage
speak.
quit. I'm just.
I'll tell you
I'm
this.
gonna leave you guys.
I'm gonna
to
tell you
your
no.
podcast,
No.
And I'm gonna let you guys have it how
You know
want
what?
it.
I want to
Like-
say one thing before you leave.
Go ahead.
I want to say one thing before you leave. Hold on, you ready?
Go ahead, Brian. What's up?
You've been very rude this whole time.
Yeah.
Is Priya, are you coming back to the table, Priya?
I actually
God
wasn't
damn.
rude in the beginning of the podcast until I was called a 304.
Yeah, you got a bit of an attitude.
Until I got.
You should talk to your therapist about that.
I don't have a therapist.
You should talk to your therapist.
I don't have a therapist.
I thought you did.
Okay, so you clearly weren't listening. Anyways, I wasn't rude until I was called a 304. So
I didn't say that. I didn't call you that.
He's looking for a reaction.
I'm not looking for.
I get it.
You're leaving?
I am.
You're gonna leave?
I am.
Babe, it's almost over, right? Like, we're close to the end.
I don't care. I'm not gonna sit here and be made a fool
Wait,
of. Like,
how about this? The chat has been. Nick, can you pull the chat up?
no, the chat has been like
Pull the chat
actually
up.
rude as fuck the
Pull the
whole
chat.
time. Like,
Pull the chat. Do we listen?
I want to save it. I want to save it. I want.
There's been a lot. I've detected you've been rude this entire time.
okay,
There's been quite a bit of TikTok brain from you.
Okay.
You have TikTok brain.
Okay.
No offense.
okay.
I want to leave it to the chat. Chat. Do we kick? Is the kick?
Fuck you guys. I'll fucking kick myself.
What is TikTok brain?
Whoa!
Like
You
15
can't fire
seconds
me.
or-
I quit. Gustavo is on the case. Out you go. Hold on, wait. Out you go. Goodbye, Leslie. It was
Shout out Javier Molina.
You know what was strange too? I did read that someone was going to rage quit. I was waiting for it. No offense. Like I was like sitting here. I'm like, I can feel it. I just didn't mean to trigger her so much. I definitely triggered her a lot, and I didn't mean to. I was
Brian,
genuinely
304
asking her
down, 304
questions.
down. You got to get the medics over there, bro.
Sorry, what's that?
304 down. You got to get the medics over there.
304 down.
304 down.
Yeah. Gustavo coming back? Where's he at? You can take her seat. Actually, no, I'm going to move you over there. We're going to wrap up here pretty soon.
It was kind of like how I was asking.
Some of
Bree
the chat's
questions.
turned against. The chat has turned against me. Bro, she was super rude the entire fucking time.
Yeah,
So at
she
the
was
end,
very,
I was just
hot.
fucking trolling her. She was what?
She was very hot. She was very.
Yeah,
irritated.
guys, look, chat.
She says
chat.
spicy Pisces.
I was trolling her there at the end. Okay, I was fucking
Drama
playing
queen.
with her a bit, but yeah, she's being rude.
Well, she's young. I
And
was
to my
21.
credit, to my
I'm trying
credit.
to remember when I was 21.
The Bronasons donated $100. Gustavo, man the guns and kick Leslie aka messed up hairline to the curb. She is a godless Jezebel, say Christ is Lord. Brian, are you up for the marathon challenge? Yes or no?
Maybe we'll have to see.
Christ is Lord.
We will see, but the Renaissance man, appreciate it. Yeah, no, she's just being nasty. So I'll just, to be fair, I de-escalated it. I reeled her back in when she was about to leave, but then she just continued like being bad faith, not engaging. She was being rude to Andrew. So look, I fucking trolled a little bit at the end, and then I kicked her off. Sue me.
Yeah, they even did a
Andrew,
peace
you're
chug.
Andrew, they did a thing, and then she had a she
And
was
I asked-
she had a sourpuss.
And I said one thing, and I like totally lit her up. I'm
I
sorry. I didn't even mean to. I was
No, you were
just genuinely asking.
No,
Like,
she
I
had a
asked you.
sourpuss the
Yeah.
entire for like after that she just had a sourpuss
Yeah.
the entire fucking show. So, yeah, you know. Bully much. Actually, pathetic questions now. Behave like the mid-30s you are. She should leave due to the disrespect, and Andrew is even a bigger D. Okay. Andrew, thoughts on the whole thing?
Fuck off. You know, she was being a brat the entire time.
Yeah, she's being a
and
brat.
you're being a fucking simp. The biggest problem with you people is like, if there's any level of discomfort for a brat, you see a bunch of these guys instantly go into simp mode. They're brats. She was acting like a stupid little brat, and you are coddling her. Stop doing that, you fucking simp. Stop it.
Yeah, she
Based.
definitely reverted to her 5-year-old self.
Based. Yeah, no, she's being fucking Look, she spilled some of her Red
She
Bull
did
on
throw
the.
the beer, and then I was like,
Yeah,
"Aw."
she threw
I was
the
like,
Red
that was
Bull.
too much.
That got me
Too
tilted.
much,
Then she
babe.
threw her fucking lipstick thing or whatever the fuck. And it's just like, all right, so I'm fucking played with her a little
I mean,
bit.
you did tell her to throw it.
No,
You
I
told her
told.
to get rid of it. You told her to get rid of it.
I told her to put it on the ground. I'm pretty sure.
She was being
said
dramatic.
toss it over
You
there.
thought she was going to throw the
No,
phone
I
at
told her
you.
to
so-
toss the lipstick thing.
You said get rid
the
of it.
drink. I told her to put it on the ground, and she fucking just
She threw
dropped it. It
I
was
know,
rude.
Yeah. It was rude.
Well, it's just regardless. We're on a podcast. We're guests here on your show, and you need to conduct yourself with professionalism, regardless of what happens. We're aware that the chat was going to be ruthless.
Yeah.
Everyone knows
We
that.
tell. We say it
just
before
have
the
to
show.
Yeah.
Be mature, be rational, and move on. It's not that difficult. Like, Andrew's here. He's here to teach us things. Brian's here. You guys are here to teach us things. We have a great opportunity, and unfortunately, I'm sorry, she was a crybaby. She just, I don't know.
Based. Let's fucking go.
Didn't take a
Cosign.
lot from it.
Yeah, I mean, look, she was being bratty the
Exhausting.
entire show, and yeah. All right. Let me get these chats. So we have Matthew. Miss Pinky needs some milk. Okay, thank you for that one. Appreciate it. I should have kicked her off sooner.
Miss Pinky needs some milk.
Should have kicked her off sooner.
But she was entertaining. Let's be real.
Attention seeking.
Yeah, it was.
Entertaining.
It was a
for the
little
pod.
extra.
I think she was honestly just.
I think she was being a little extra.
I think she's playing
It
that
depends
shit
on if
up.
you know entertainment.
Well, yeah. So before we get too far into the weeds, at the beginning of this, when you
We're
got
not in
into
weeds. I'm
the-
just trying to explain them.
Well, you're not in the weeds, right?
I'm in the weeds.
Right. So before we get too far into the rights enforcement agency, I know that this is a key point of PF's. Last, you were about to build a ground framework for how this would work from the ground up, and he had you kind of bypass that to move into his position. But I want to give you the opportunity to build that ground framework up so that the audience really understands what you're talking
Right.
about.
Yeah, I think yes.
Yeah. I think you're being a bit impatient here. So let's just do this one step at a
My
time to make sure we're
apologies. I'll
understand.
Sip on my.
Yeah, drink your
So-
fucking cup beer and shut up, PF, and let him talk.
So as we've established, and it's pretty obvious, a rights enforcement agency can't offer their customers at the same time the right to unlimited noise and the right to peace and quiet. They can't offer the right to take anybody else's stuff and the right to have their own stuff protected. Right? You have to make rules that are consistent, and offer people those rules so that they don't conflict with each other. That's just sort of obvious. And when you have that, you can then sell those rights to people. And if they get into some conflict, then you have the rules to resolve that conflict. Each customer can say, hey, I'm right, no, I'm right. And the agency can say, okay, well, we have to resolve this. Well, here's the rules. You guys signed up for these rules. We'll figure out what happened. We'll have a little arbitration, and figure out who's right and who's wrong. And whoever's wrong, we're not gonna enforce, we're not gonna do what you're asking us to do in this particular case. In the case of multiple agencies, they have to, so they get into a conflict, and what a customer of one agency did something, got lawnmower of a customer of the other agency. If one of those, we'll take the case where there's an established rule, like you can't steal your neighbor's lawnmower without asking, something straightforward like that. If it's unclear, in that case, if the facts were known, it would be clear who was in the right and who was in the wrong, right? It's pretty straightforward. What these agencies are probably going to do is say, okay, this other agency, we're not going to go to war over some other agency for our customer when we don't even know if our customer is the one lying or not, right? We're not selling for $40 a month the service of being your private army for you to commit crimes. That costs way more. That's a much more expensive service. We're offering you security and rights, protect your rights. So we're going to require you to submit to arbitration with this customer of the other agency. And we have a treaty with this agency. We've agreed to use some particular arbitrator or some set of arbitrators to resolve disputes between our customers. And you'll have to use one of those. And whatever that arbitrator decides, we're going to go with that, even if it decides for the customer of the other agency, because we're not in the business of fighting wars, private wars for customers who want to steal other people's lawnmowers. Now, you might ask, where do these rules come from? Well, when these agencies make treaties with each other, they're going to have to choose arbitrators to settle the disputes. And I mean, the rules could come from anywhere, but probably the people who actually write the rules will be the arbitrators who are arbitrating the disputes, because they'll be in the best position to do that. And in terms of what the rules will be, each agency is going to have they're going to be using just as they're going to be using their customers' wishes and what they're willing to pay for to decide what the rules are. That's also going to determine what rules are agreed on in these treaties between agencies, because an agency says, well, we can make money. Our customers want this rule. This other agency's customers maybe want some slightly different rule. I guess we'll negotiate this with this agency. If we can make more money from our customers, if our customers are bidding more money effectively for this law than their customers are bidding for the other law, then we can just pay them off a little bit of money, like half of the extra money that we would make to agree to our rules. And that should be worth it for them, because the money they'll make from that is actually more than they'd make from their customers for giving their customers the rule that they wanted, right? So through this interagency negotiation and perhaps payments, you can resolve these differences in the customer base and what the different customer bases for the different agencies want. I don't think you'd have massive differences in what the customers of different agencies want, because these are customers of the same people in the same markets, who want who are shopping for the same service. It's not like, you can have some customers want to have the purge where they're all killing each other, and some customers don't. Everyone's going to agree that murder is illegal and theft is illegal and blah, 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 and all the straightforward stuff. You might have little differences in things, very, very sort of like details, like what the volume level is, right? Some customers might slightly higher volume level. Some customers might be slightly favorable to peace and quiet, but you can resolve that through negotiating between the agencies and possible payments between the agencies, right? Does that make sense?
So now that you've laid that groundwork, and the reason that I asked you to, so that we all understood it, the chat, PF, myself, PF will give you a little bit longer than average cross-examination because there's a lot of information. So if you want to probe it, I think that's very fair to do. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you. Well, this is very kind. This is a very respectable debate. I appreciate it.
You've got further than almost anybody else I've talked to about this.
Well, hey, there we go. I like to listen, although I like to make jokes, and so I do interrupt sometimes. Sometimes I let my ego get the best of me. So okay, I think I followed most of that, but I don't. How is that better than the state? Because what you just said, a state can do what you just said is the state will be the arbitration agency who will make the laws, like the sound volume. Each locality is you can play your sound at this level, but at any higher than that, it's now a disturbing of the peace, and then the police get called. And you're talking about these treaties between arbitration agencies and rights enforcement agencies. It's that's just called federalism, right? Right? Cities have agreements with each other, or if they have disputes with each other, it goes to the state, right? And then if states have disputes,
cities don't make treaties
federal
with each other.
I agree. But let's say two cities had a dispute, or a private individual and a city, or a private individual and a local government.
But that's very different than tiered governments, right? Tiered governments don't have the lower governments settle things by treaties. They just anything that they would get into a conflict over is resolved by the higher government. Lower governments just don't have any say in it, right?
Sure.
So it's different than treaties.
Okay, let me just put it simply. Liberal democracy so far is pretty good in terms of creating literally the safest societies that have ever existed in the history of mankind. Not perfect, obviously, but it works generally pretty good. It works well enough that you and I have enough free time to be debating.
It works better than other things that we've tried, right?
Sure. I don't. It seems to go from what we have now to utter stateless society seems like a big jump. I guess what you're saying sounds good on paper, but I'm kind of confused on what is. I'm not really following. I'll just say
until we try it, it's only going to be on paper, right?
Sure, but
we don't. This is not a like all or nothing leap of faith thing. We can try this incrementally.
Well, and that's why
easily.
federalism works so great. Laboratories of democracy.
We can give
each state can do something differently, and each city can do something differently, right? Isn't that kind of what we have now?
Well, no, it's not. It's very different from what we have now. First of all, like I say, cities are not sovereign. They have certain things that they're allowed to make laws about locally, but anything that's outside that is just passed down, just come down from above, from the next tier up of government, and they don't have any say in it, right? So there's no negotiation, and you don't have, even if you're in a city, you have a little bit of choice. Let's say you're in a city and the law enforcement sucks for whatever reason. Okay, you can't switch law enforcement agencies without moving to a different city. You have to significantly disrupt your life and take on a lot of other costs, probably change your job, change your friends, move, blah, 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 just to change the law enforcement. And of course, if it's at problems at the state level, you got to go even further. If the problems at the national level, then you got to it's almost like you got to migrate to another country. Huge deal. If with these agencies, they're not territorial at all. You can literally just change your rights enforcement agency as easy as you can change your cell phone provider, right? You don't have to move, you don't have to do anything. That's that's a much stronger influence that you have as an individual over the quality of the service you're getting. Just as it does in other markets, that choice gives you an enormous amount of power, and I think you'd expect the service you get to be much higher quality and much cheaper if that was the case, if they had to compete for business, right? And we're talking about competing in things like do the police actually come when you call them, right? That's a big thing. Do the police give a shit when you call them and you're like, a crime is committed against me? Not a big crime, kind of a little crime, under $1,000. Do they actually give a shit? Police right now don't. It's kind of actually hard to get the police to care about anything. Do they try to prevent crime, or do they just wait for crime to happen and then go bust people and get credit for it? Currently, the police seem more interested in catching criminals and looking like they're doing that than they do about preventing and reducing crime. But if you're a rights enforcement agency and your money comes directly from customers who they don't want crime, they want to be safe. And protecting them from crime costs you money. That's an expense, right? The most profitable rights enforcement company is the one where they don't have to respond to any calls. They don't have to go out and catch any criminals because that's expensive. They just sit there and collect money from their customers and nothing ever happens to them. That's great. So they have an incentive to actually prevent crime from happening, keep you safe. We'll give you a security system. We'll give you cameras. We'll give you, do whatever it takes to prevent crime from happening to you. They might even do programs to try to reduce crime in the neighborhood or whatever. Anything that'll save them money will make them more profitable, right? That's an incentive that state rights and state law doesn't have.
Mm-hmm. So what if you are poor? How does this work?
If you're poor, so first I'll point out that if you're poor right now, if you're really poor,
yes,
rights law is not super helpful to you, right? I wouldn't say we're talking homeless people. I wouldn't say that homeless people get a whole lot of help from the state in terms of rights enforcement.
Well, I don't know.
We'd have to ask some homeless people probably, but it doesn't seem like they're really.
That's fair.
It seems like they probably get a lot of hassle from the police rather than more than help.
Well, if they're committing crimes, but
yeah.
Well,
or just standing around.
Now that the operational foundation is established, kind of to PF Young's point, before we get too far off into various weeds, he does often bring this back to the arbitration between these two REAs, or these rights enforcement agencies. And if there's a dispute, and I'm trying to follow here as I take notes, and I'm still not really hearing an answer to his contention on what happens if there's a dispute where the rights enforcement agencies can't come to terms.
They've come to terms in advance. They have a treaty in that treaty they've agreed on which which laws they're going to use to resolve disputes, and which arbitrators would be other companies. And
Can
which
I interrupt
arbitrators
here?
they're going to use to resolve disputes. Yeah.
Okay, so I hear that a lot, and I think your point is, and you said this earlier, you think from an economic and practical perspective, this is what they would do. It makes sense for them to have agreed to a treaty beforehand, so they would do it.
Yeah.
But the fact that companies make all kinds of mistakes all the time in the real world indicates that that is not sufficient explanation, right? Companies do all kinds of dumb things. And from your perspective, you would say, well, a company would not make an unprofitable decision because it's unprofitable. And yet they do it all the time because we have imperfect information. So what if you had two rights enforcement?
I would not say, hold on, since you said what I would say, I'll tell you, it's not quite right. I would never say a company would not make an unprofitable decision. All I say is that companies have incentives to make good decisions, and profit is that incentive.
Yes.
And companies that make unprofitable decisions will go away. They tend to lose money, and if they lose enough money, they disappear. Whereas the companies that make profitable decisions tend to grow and gain more market share and become more prominent.
Sure, I agree with that. I agree with all that.
So that's really what market incentives are about. It's not that it is impossible for a company to make an economic decision. It's that the economics takes care of it for them, right?
Right. But my question to you was, you have two rights enforcement agencies, right, in two neighboring communities, and they did not create a treaty with each other ahead of time. You said it's economically profitable for them to do so, but as we just agreed, companies make all kinds of terrible decisions all the time. So you have two companies or two communities, neighborhood A and B, right next to each other, with two separate rights enforcement agencies, and they have not made a treaty ahead of time.
They have to make one as soon as they get into a conflict, right?
And if they don't, if they aren't, so
women who are like, yeah, sure, I'll marry a dude who makes $150,000 a year and pays for all my shit. That sounds a lot different than I'm looking to get married. To me,
Who said that?
That sounds
absolutely
different to
not.
me.
Absolutely not. I'm curious which one of us said that.
Well, so as we're going around the table, right, what do you think that when you say a man who can support himself and is supporting himself and can support a family, if he lives in the Santa Barbara area, what do you think that would take if you had to guess?
Probably over $300,000 a year, but we're not talking about this specific location. We're not including the fact that each of us I think everyone around the table is willing to have a 2-income household. Do you agree or do you disagree? I think partnership is everything. My dad and my stepmom, my dad is 16 years older than my stepmom. They've been together for 18 years now. He invested in her company, and now she makes more money than him, and she's the main provider of our household. I think that
he gave her money for her company, and now her
and
company's
she's
doing
paid it
well.
all back. Her company is doing much better, or it's doing well, I mean, and now she makes more money than him and pays his mortgage. And she's also helping me pay for my college. So women
that's
can
great.
be providers.
That's called dividends. That's called dividends. That's how that works when you invest in a company and it does well. You get money back out of it. That's
Absolutely,
how it works.
But she is a female.
He could have done that without any marriage, right?
Yeah, but I think if you find a partner who's willing to work with you and grow with you and create a sustainable life for you and a future family, I think that's an absolutely beautiful thing for both partners to have ambition. And also, I would be perfectly happy, marrying a woman who makes more money than me or less money than me, or marrying a man who makes more money than me or less money than me, as long as in our combined household we can ensure the safety of one another, and we both have similar mindsets with financial planning, investments, retirement funds, college funds if we are planning to have children, Roth IRAs, that type of issue.
What about the love thing? Is that the most important factor, or the money
For
thing?
marriage?
Absolutely.
Love for marriage, is that more important than money? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Nothing in life is free. If you marry someone for the money, you earn every penny. That's what my mom would tell me when I was a kid.
I'm sure she would.
So it would be money. That's
no.
The
Point is that if you marry someone for the money, you earn every penny because you choose a life of unhappiness.
Yeah.
I think that was the lesson she always taught me. You have to be open-minded, you know? Not everything in life is material. And I think because there are so many ways to make money independently, and I mean, for example, writing your own book and like creating your own platform, I think there's less of a necessity for women to marry solely for money, when in the past and not that long ago, we couldn't even have our own credit cards, you know, without the permission of a man.
Yeah, but you also didn't incur any debt. That's why you couldn't have credit cards.
Yeah, but we were owned property by men.
No, you weren't owned property. That's ridiculous.
There's not a point in human history where women have been property of men.
That's not what I said. I said you weren't owned property in this country, ever.
Me personally, no, but
No women. Women were not.
In the United States, women were never considered legal property
not
of
legal
another
property.
person.
But if you're don't have body autonomy and you can't make your own income, and you have to rely on being married in order to have any type of social standing.
Women could always make their own income in the United States. Where on earth did you get the idea that they couldn't?
Guys,
Did you learn this in feminist studies class 101?
But like white women, like we're not really accepted into the working class.
If you want to argue, I'm not saying was no room for income and that there was no room for any type of sustainable life or women to, you know, create some type of wealth. Until really wartime, women weren't allowed in the workforce, and that was only because there were no men.
Where did you get the idea that
Where
they
in the
weren't?
workforce were they not
They
allowed?
were still nurses. They were still teachers.
Guys,
they were still doing all sorts
nurses
of jobs
and
inside
teachers,
of society. What do
so
you mean?
they were limited
Same types
to
of jobs they're doing
domestic
right now,
role
by the way.
laws.
They were doing.
They were
hang on.
they
They
were
were doing. Hang on.
One
Just
at a
calm
time,
down.
one at a time.
Relax. They were doing clerical work. They were teaching. They were nursing. They're doing all the same jobs that they're basically doing right now.
Okay, well, there are plenty of women who are moving up in corporate worlds as well as moving up in different sections.
No, there's not very many women who are moving up the corporate ladder in
Compared
corporate world.
to
Why
50
there's so
years
many?
ago?
There's so few female CEOs for a reason. They don't gravitate towards that kind of work.
Okay. You're right, I'm wrong. Women are they are only meant to do domestic work.
No, I don't think that's what he's saying.
That's not what I said. That's a mischaracterization. I'm just explaining to you the reality. I don't understand why you're being so aggressive. I haven't been mean to you.
Can I
I'm just
ask
explaining
something?
to you.
Yeah, go for it.
What the reality of the situation is.
Go ahead, and then Isabel will go. Go ahead.
What does this have to do with women not being able to own, like, have their own credit cards or open a bank account in their own
Well,
name?
because women not being able to have bank accounts and credit cards because they weren't allowed to incur debt. This was great because right now the biggest holders of debt in the United States are women. It's crushing for most women. Before that, men had to incur all the debt. So the wife could go out and spend all of the money that she wanted in her husband's name, and he had to incur the debt even post-divorce. He still had to take care of the debt. She had none of it in her name. This was one of the primary arguments against feminism from the anti-suffragettes, is that they did not want to incur debt. And now women have racked up tons and tons of it.
I mean, so have men. It's crushing for men too. So I mean, I don't really think anyone should be forced to incur debt. So I'm not sure why.
Well, you know what? I think that if I asked a man if he got married, if all of the debt would be incurred by the woman and all he had to do was not have a credit card or bank account, he'd take that deal in 5 seconds.
What do you mean by not be forced to incur any debt?
It means that everything that all money that I spend on all
Gridwall
credit cards go
Motorsports
immediately in your
donated
name.
$200. In 1877, a woman was elected mayor in Kansas. Your history sucks. Accuracy matters. You are in fact wrong. Feminism has failed you. Patriarchy is the way to the truth, and stands ready to help be better.
Yo, Grid One, thank you. You had a question for her.
Yeah, I
you
just wanted to get some clarification there. Nobody should be forced to incur debt. What does that mean?
Just like in a purely hypothetical, like perfect world, no one would be taking on debt to like go to college.
Well, let's talk about the real world.
Okay. In the real world, I mean, that's not possible.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it should. I mean, basically, you're implying that it's good that it's men's responsibility to incur all debt. And I feel like if that were actually the case, then we would be in a different argument where it would be like, well, women suck because women don't incur any debt and we incur all of their debt. So I feel like it's just kind of like a bad faith argument. I don't know.
Well, it's not a bad faith argument. It's just giving a descriptor for why it happened that way. Sure. Why it was that women, and there was far more anti-suffragettes than there were pro-suffragettes, by the way, made very compelling arguments, like they didn't want to get drafted, for instance. They didn't want, what the anti-suffragettes said was that women had the moral high ground because they weren't political tools. They weren't political tools because they couldn't vote. So they weren't tapped into as being political tools. So when they said something, they said it from a position of moral authority. They weren't being tapped into. So this is how they were able to argue successfully for things in women's interest without being just considered another voting bloc that needed to be appealed to. When it came to debt and things like this, it is true that women didn't hold they could have bank accounts, by the way, but most of the time when they opened up lines of credit and debt and accounts, it was always in their husband's name, but the husband was also responsible for all of the debt. The women weren't. And even when the man died, the woman would get his property, but it may not be the same if a woman died, that he would automatically default and get the property. She was able to incur all sorts of wealth for herself and didn't have to spend it.
Do you think that's a more preferable system? Would you like to go back to that financial?
Well, I think it's a more preferable system to begin to move women outside of the workplace. That way we can go back to a family dynamic that works, and we can get the reproductive health of the United States back up, because right now it's in the gutter. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's in the gutter.
So
our birth rate's way low.
Then why would it be a problem for any of us to say we'd like a man who can support a family? Why is that a problem if you think that men should be incurring all the debt and taking on all the financial responsibility? If a woman says, well, I'd like a man who can support a family in Santa Barbara,
well, because
why is that a problem?
this is a cyclical problem. The problem is if you say, I would love to have a single income support me, but then at the same time not recognize the problem that if you double the workforce, you're going to have the wages of men, that you're basically perpetuating the same issue that you're against.
Jump in.
I think it's...
Last thing after you make your point.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Say your thing, but I'm going to move on after that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just think for me, it's kind of the constant dichotomy of men constantly arguing, oh, well, women want men to pay for everything and want us to take care of them. But then it's also the idea of, oh, well, women can't do any jobs that aren't nursing or being a teacher or doing all these things naturally in the workforce, because women, whether or not you want to argue these aspects of history, on a mass scale, entered the workforce at a later date. The same thing with how women entered professional sports at a later date, or any other kind of gendered aspect of life, which is most of society. You're welcome to interject.
Well, really quick on the professional sports thing. So what exactly, when you bring up professional sports,
Sure.
do you mean because women got into professional sports at a later date, that's the reason why there's a pay discrepancy in sporting
I think
events?
of course there's a pay discrepancy in sporting events based off of turnout and these other things,
Okay.
but I'm saying there's no foundation of growth. If you are able to acquire wealth and work jobs for hundreds of years, whether it is or decades, whether it's being a doctor, whether it's being a lawyer, and these institutions only existed under the guidance of men being able to do those things, such as Harvard only being a male-only school until the last 50 or 60 years.
Yeah, but
wait,
I'm
still talking.
No. Stop.
Thank you.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, it is not, because my grandmother went to the sister.
Hang on. Women have always outdone men academically, including in high school. They've always had better scores. Always. That has been the case. And there was no barrier for public education. Early feminists were flying all over the world. They were writing books, they were writing pamphlets, they were writing essays, and they were highly educated.
100%.
No men were pushing them out of those domains of academia.
I hear you, and I understand that that's your perspective, and I want to acknowledge that there are so many smart, scholarly women, but it is an absolute reality that women's work has been discredited. I can cite, I study biological anthropology.
Nonsense. What woman's work was discredited because she was a woman?
Look up when women were allowed to attend Harvard University for me, quickly.
Yeah, why? But who cares if that was exclusive? There was tons of other universities for them to attend to. And what is the problem with having a male-only college anyway if somebody wants to have one?
If prestigious universities catered exclusively to men and women entered these different aspects of the workforce later, it will take more time.
That's not what happened.
And it will take gradual progress for women to continue to be in those fields of study. Are there probably statistically in the U.S. more male chemists or lawyers? At UCSB, for example, the majority of professors on the panel of the chemistry department are white men. But does that mean in the next 20
women
years?
suck at applied science.
Why?
That's why they all get sociology
Tell me the science.
degrees.
Tell
That's
me
why
the
they're all in
science.
sociology
Tell me the
and they're in
science of
fake
why men
scientific
perform
fields.
higher in chemistry.
Look,
because
at some point you
guarantee.
gotta let me respond.
No, go ahead. Tell me the
because what you're doing
statistics.
is you talk so much. I can't actually.
Okay,
go
tell me
point
the
by point with
statistics
you.
of how men perform
So
higher
I'll
in
try
chemistry.
to go point by point. Let's go with point one.
Sure.
Yes, it is true that when you're talking about scientific fields, especially chemistry, that's an applied science. Women don't go for applied science. They
That's
don't
actually not entirely true. Women make up the majority of STEM degrees today.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Okay, calm down. Soft sciences are preferable by women. They prefer soft science. I don't know why, right? Nobody knows why. Well, I mean, we have an inkling as to why, but they don't. They don't prefer it. The hard sciences are preferred by men. That's why you see mostly men inside of hard science fields. That is true.
Yeah, so
that's point one.
As of recently, the majority of STEM degrees actually are being pursued by women. I think a lot of that can be attributed to the modern cultural feminism movement at large.
No.
Period.
The devil's in the details. What kind of STEM degrees?
Largely the sciences. I have a degree, two degrees actually, in biomedical sciences, one in undergrad and one in graduate school.
What about engineering?
But correct, women statistically make up less of engineering programs until recently. Women are becoming a much larger growing demographic in these things. But this is my question is...
Okay, hang on. Just saying it's a STEM field is not relevant. For instance, if you look at the replication crisis, you'll note that it's not just sociology which it affects, but the medical field as well. Medical fields are full of STEM degrees. However, it's not always replicatable science. It fails up to 60% of the time, for instance. That's still a soft science. Just saying that it's a STEM field doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
The stupid in you must really hurt.
It wasn't Brown.
Men went to Harvard or Yale, which were male only. Women went to Brown and others. Brown was all female. Are you trying to be this stupid?
Anyway, my question is, we can talk about men generally having more analytically structured brains, and that's why they've pursued applied sciences larger than the soft sciences, which women generally have pursued out of a more empathetic, emotional perspective historically, and they still do tend to pursue those career paths. I guess my question for you, Luce, is if women have been strategically held back for so long by society, if they've, in your own words, taken so much extra time to be admitted to schools like Harvard or to be given professional athletic opportunities, etc., we could keep going example by example, then what's the solution? Are you just saying women are always going to be considered, in your worldview, second-class citizens, or is there a change that needs to happen, in your perspective, societally to accomplish that?
I'm not saying that women are second-class citizens in the United States, and I'm not saying that in my personal experience I've felt second-class to anyone. I acknowledge certain privileges that I've had and the ability to pursue education, etc. But I do absolutely think when there is a woman expectation, for example, when my dad left my mom, she became a stay-at-home single mother, and she was living off of alimony and child support. But she needed to be taking care of 2 kids in the home at that time, and the court kind of put that onto her. My dad did not want custody, and I think very often women are forced into positions of nurturing and caring for whether it's their partners, their children, etc. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing or a wrong thing, and I'm not saying that, I personally do feel like I do have some level of a nurturing or more maternal aspect to me that maybe a man might not have. But I think it's very hard to succeed in your career for many women who don't have the socioeconomic standing or certain privileges to pursue those fields without, the consequence of having to take care of, whether it's younger siblings or their own children, or being forced into positions of choosing career versus family. I think, is anyone familiar with the poet Sylvia Plath?
Oh yeah,
Well,
I'm very
she
familiar. Sylvia Plath. Do you know how Sylvia Plath met her demise?
I do, and my point is, she writes a.
Tell them how that
she
Sylvia
committed
Plath met her
suicide, and
demise.
she wasn't necessarily. Oh, excuse
Whatever,
me.
just continue.
Sorry. She wasn't necessarily the greatest person in the world, but she did write a poem.
No, she really wasn't, was she? She was pretty awful, wasn't she?
She was awful, but she did write a discussion about a poem called One Fig Tree. And she basically discusses how as a woman, she felt like she had 3 paths in life: a famous poet, a mother with a good husband and good children, or a scholarly professor. And I think that's a choice that women are often expected to choose, is family, career, hobbies, whereas men often get the immediate option of choosing career. And that's not necessarily to say all men want that. But I do think women are asked to sacrifice
she
more
also drew pictures
socially.
of aborted fetuses, and she also wrote poems about unaliving. She also wrote all kinds of insane poems. She was a lunatic.
Is she a lunatic any more than any crazy
Than any
artist?
of the feminists? No, she's not any more of a lunatic than any of them.
She was actually
That's
a self-proclaimed not feminist, so do not associate her with that
She
movement.
is a feminist, and her husband was a feminist and supported all of her work with his money because he was a feminist. He propagated the feminist agenda.
But my point is that I think a lot of women are asked to sacrifice more individually than men are on a career scale or on a family scale.
Bullshit.
Nuclear family, for example.
What?
So
How are they
what
asked
about
to
the nuclear
sacrifice
family
more?
is asking women to sacrifice things that the men isn't?
How many men do you know that were ever stay-at-home dads?
My dad, for one, for several years of my childhood.
Statistically. Huh?
No.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just saying there is an expectation on women, from whether it's a natural perspective or an evolved perspective. Women bear children for a duration of 9 to 10 months. They have to take care of them biologically post-birth, whether it's through breastfeeding or other acquisitions. And I think because of those biological factors, we have been forced more into the nurturing role in a social sphere as well.
Wait.
That's a powerful word. Forced is a really powerful word.
Hold on. Can you just repeat? You said that how many men do you know who
were stay-at-home dads versus
Grid
stay-at-home
1
moms.
Motorsports donated $200. If you think it is easy to be a man, read Self-Made Man by Nora Vincent. Your little mind will explode. Your simplistic arguments insult literally everyone watching this program. Let the adults talk.
For those who don't know, Nora Vincent, a woman who did this kind of experiment where she basically lived as a man. I don't think she was transgender, but she dressed like a man, looked like a man, lived like a man. And she was like, because she's a feminist, this is going to be so easy, blah, 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 all this privilege. And then actually it was just totally brutal, like the social
100%.
aspects of it. But you were saying something about, how many men do you know who would
I
be
think
stay-at-home?
Agreed, but to your point, I think it is very hard to be a man the same way it's very hard to be a woman, the same way it's very hard to be a human being. No part of my argument was saying that it's not
What's
difficult.
the thing with the stay-at-home parent, though?
I just think statistically, until very recently, it was significantly less likely that men would be stay-at-home parents, as well as the failure of our career system not allowing men to take paternal leave.
Well, do you think that there's just, I would argue that there's, who would you say is to blame for that? That men just, don't want to
I'm not blaming anyone. I'm saying it is a natural part of our society that women have been not forced, excuse me.
Didn't you,
right with that language.
Didn't you earlier say that you want a guy to pay for the first date?
If he asked me out, if I ask him out, I'm happy to pay.
Do you ask guys out?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
In the
Generally
past, for sure.
speaking, do you think who's initiating first dates?
Obviously, men,
I would
probably
argue
statistically.
99% of first dates, men are the ones initiating.
I don't know. Men are kind of scared these days, so
Well,
I would say
I
would say it's fairly even. But all I was saying that because of the actual biological factor of being a childbearing woman, not that all women are, I think there is a standard in our society that women are these nurturing roles, and that reflects in the careers that you proclaim that women succeed
But hold on,
the
I'm
most
going back
in.
to this. You stated something
Yeah,
about.
but I mean, why?
Hold on.
Why is that?
You stated something about. Well, men, they wouldn't be these stay-at-home fathers. Well, that's amazing.
I didn't say
Hold
that.
on, you said something about.
I didn't.
Then restate it for me.
I'm saying
Something about the stay-at-home fathers.
when you consider the fact that even if you look in the court of law, even when the mother is the unfit parent, the court of law in a divorce case will always favor the woman getting custody.
Sounds like a female privilege, doesn't it?
I mean, if having to deal with kids, 3 screaming children on your own is a privilege to you, maybe. But I think that aspect of female privilege was created by
if there's
the
a custody dispute,
Sure.
somebody's desirous of having custody.
Sure.
So let's assume that it's the man who's desiring custody and the woman doesn't want it. That wouldn't be a male privilege that he doesn't get custody.
Why do you think I'm saying male privilege or female privilege? I'm saying objectively in the court of law they favor women, and that's a negative a lot of the time for men who want to participate in parenting. I think women are looked at as mothers in society, and that's not necessarily always true and not necessarily
and men are
always
looked
fair.
at as wallets
Okay.
and providers and disposable.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry
and
that's been your
disposable.
experience. I'm not saying one is worse than the other
Cool.
or one's untrue.
But you said something, I'm trying to get back to the original point. You said something about single stay-at-home fathers.
Yeah.
What was your argument?
I was just stating that there are less stay-at-home fathers, as well as
And
the
that's-
failure of our career system that does not allow a lot of men to take.
That's because of a mating pressure that women put on men, not because there's that's entirely a mating pressure that women impose on men. We went around this table. All of you said the guy has to make this much money. He has to pay for the first date, blah, blah, blah. That's a mating pressure you impose.
I mean, I've
It has
dated
nothing to do
people
with
from
patriarchy.
multiple different. I think it's difficult to argue that, oh, well, this has nothing to do with this, and this is the only reason that this is aligned, and this is the only problem. Like, none of us are arguing that men don't have problems in dating. I'm not saying that it's ethical that men are expected to be providers, but when you create a system in which there is a historical aspect where women were meant to provide children and
They still
essentially
are.
sex to men,
Yeah, but
man
it's still the
provides his
system.
own service. That is his
Listen,
service of
listen,
taking
hang on,
care
hang
of
on.
his family.
That system, what's wrong with that system? That's a good system. We need women to provide children. Nobody
Not
else
ev-
can
I
provide
mean,
children except women.
We're in overpopulation.
Actually,
already.
we're not. We're approaching population decline
Yeah,
like,
they're
rapidly
massive.
around
We're
the
in
globe
decline
today.
across the board. Not only are we in decline across the board, but if you look at some of the Asian nations like South Korea, for instance, it's not even 1-to-1 for replacement. If you
Yeah.
look at Japan, right now, they're about to have a crisis where they have more elderly people than they have young people to take care of the elderly people.
The
This is
50
a
most powerful
cataclysm which is
countries in the
coming.
world actually cannot replace their current population. The
So
50
my question
most powerful
becomes this to
countries.
you, right? My question becomes, why is this a bad system? Why do you think that it's bad that women are moved by society to stay at home and take care of their children? Why do you think that that's bad? That seems to be the most efficient system. Could you even think of a better system? Tell me, if you could come up with your dream system, what would it even be other than that?
My dream I can't wait to have children. I love children. Personally, it's never been a question for me. I can't wait to have children. I love children. I work with kids a bunch, and I think it's such a great blessing, motherhood. Not that everyone needs it, but for me personally. So I'm not at all anti-children, but I'm just I personally would love to have a family and have that dynamic.
So you actually can't
But-
think of a better system than that.
In my ideal world, I would love to have a partner who would go true 50-50 with me on caring for the children, as well as working as much as I work. Obviously,
Well,
if my
I mean,
partner,
if he's working, but if you had the ideal system, wouldn't your ideal system actually be that you could spend all of your time with your children
No.
while your husband worked?
because I would like the equal sacrifice in my relationship where I love children. I can't wait to be a mother, but I don't need to be the sole provider of my children for 24 hours a day. I would love to have a partnership where they are more than willing to help me, feed, take care of the children if I need a day.
But how's that equal if he's working?
Because I could work as well. There's so many
Yeah, I
different
know,
ways.
so this brings us back to the original question then. Is your time better spent working, or is your time better spent at home with your children, not outsourcing their care to somebody else while you're working? For instance, let's say you had a baby, little Samantha. Do you think that little Samantha wants to go and get taken care of by some Venezuelan immigrant while you go work all day? Do you think that that's preferable?
I had an au pair growing up. She was a Haitian au pair, and she was one of the most beautiful, amazing women. And I never felt like it took away from my experience with my mother.
You preferred that over your mom?
I never felt like it took away from my experience with my mother.
That's not what I asked you. Did you prefer it over your own mother?
Probably.
Really? You preferred that this
my mother? Not every woman is a great
mother?
mother. Not every woman can be a great mother. Not every man can be a great father. And I think the
so
family
outsource
system.
Them. So outsource your kids.
You don't have
That's
to.
your big plan.
If I am in a position in which I can adjust work hours or take time off of work or make sure my schedule aligns, or take off work until my children are in school and only work during school hours, etc. I find that to be not a problem at all.
Andrew, can you
I know. I understand what you're saying, but let me give it back to you one more time. Why do you think it would be preferable if you had the option to stay at home to outsource your mothering to a stranger of your children? In what world does that make sense?
I'm not saying that I would have to do it to a stranger of my children. Everyone has different relationship dynamics, different financial statuses. You know, maybe I have my parents are able to help take care, or my sister, which is a very natural part
or maybe
of human.
Nobody. Or maybe the daycare, right?
Or
don't you think
I
it's
would never
preferable for
personally,
women
I would never
to avoid the daycare?
If you want to ask the question and you want my answer, do you want me to answer?
Well, your answers are really long-winded. You see how short
fine.
And
I will do short and sweet. I will do short and sweet.
Yeah.
I want to love my children in every way that I can, and I want to be an amazing mother. And I think if I spend my entire time losing my identity as an individual and only seeing myself as a mother, I will not be able to provide.
What do you mean only? Wait, what could possibly be more important than being a mother? There's nothing you could ever do in your life that's more important.
So for a
than
man,
that.
it's
Name
more important for
one
him
thing you
to
could
be a
do that's
father.
more important than being a mother.
God, being a good one.
That makes no what? That makes no sense.
That makes sense.
That makes so much sense.
What?
That makes complete sense.
Also,
Thank
I
you.
might be
You have to
misunderstanding the conversation, but also
Wait, hang on. I just want to make sure I got this right. What's more important than being a mother? Okay, being a good mother. Okay, great. What's more important than being a good mother?
Nothing. And
Nothing.
I will
being a good mother,
I will
if
take
nothing's more
every
important
step
than
in my
that-
life to assure that I can be a good mother, whether that's working, whether that's
Yeah,
maybe
by
needing a
outsourcing
nanny.
it to the Venezuelan immigrant. Yeah, your daycare.
What's wrong with a Venezuelan
genius
immigrant?
plan.
Maybe she lives at home with me and she's an
Can I
amazing
ask-
woman.
I mean, do you consider yourself, is his name Andrew?
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, do you consider yourself like a traditional person? Like, would you say that a traditional mindset?
No,
is
I
being a
don't consider
traditional
myself
family?
trad or what is considered to be trad in modernity at all. I never have. I don't think we should go back to the 1950s or any of this nonsense. What I'm saying specifically, though, is this, that there is no better system that any of you can name than the nuclear family for the backbone of society. That's going to require stay-at-home mothers. There's nothing else that's better than that. We see the population declining. It's falling off like a rock.
Well-
And so when I ask, what is it that's more important than being a good mother at home, none of you are going to be able to say that that's not the most important job. And yet, for some reason, women seem to want to outsource that job to other people, even though it's theirs. Husband can work, take care of you, you stay home. No, I have aspiring dreams that surmount being a mother when there's nothing else you could do that's more important than that.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Mhm.
I think the ideal dynamic would be subjective to the two people in that dynamic. And
Andrew,
I think
can you
it's-
try to center yourself? Go ahead.
I think it's silly to try and tell other people in these relationships what to do because it's not your relationship. You don't know what's best for them. You know, we don't know what's best in your relationship, Andrew. We shouldn't.
We're
be
not.
telling
We're
you what
not
to do.
saying what. Listen, I'm not talking on the individual level. Everybody's individual situation is going to be different. Nobody disputes that that's true. But we can look at what is optimal.
So
and if
what
we're
if
looking at
someone
what is
has-
optimal for the most amount of people, what's optimal for the most amount of people is having a stay-at-home mom who takes care of their children and a father who works. How do we know that that's optimal? Because we can look at the results of the kids and what happens with the kids
Let's
when they come
say-
from single mother households, when they come from split family households. We can see exactly what happens, and it is not preferable to society in any way, shape, or form.
Let's say it's optimal and best for the child, for the parents to have a dynamic that works best for them where they can healthily show up for their kid the best way they can, whether it or not it be like a woman in the household taking care of the children or a father in the household taking care of the children. It doesn't really matter. Like what works best for them
you
is what works
could
best
you
for
could
them.
in some certain circumstances flip the script. That's true.
And it's, like,
but these
personally
would be
objective.
exceptions to the rule.
It's a
so, for
personal
instance,
preference.
it's going to be optimal for a mom to stay at home over a dad, at least in the formative years of the child, right? She has to breastfeed. She has to do all of these things which are necessary for the health
Living
and the
Under's
welfare of the child. So it's an optimal system.
$200. Question for first girl. How often do you advocate for male-only scholarships, fostering male educational environment, etc.? Why are feminists not pushing for graduation parity now? I never hear it now.
Isn't it the case? What is the disparity? It's like 2 to 3, 3 to 2. Like 60% of women are going to college versus 40%. Like it's 60-40, I think, is the split. You go to UCSB, correct?
Correct.
I think it's 60-40 at UCSB. What do you have to say about that? Is that due to sexism?
I think that is really terrible, and that everyone should have.
Do you?
Yeah, I think everyone should have full access and opportunity for education. Absolutely every person on this planet, whether or not I agree with them, whether they have different political views than me, any gender, race, everyone has the right to education, and our entire American education system is flawed. It's super expensive. There's a lot of pressure to get straight into the workforce. I think as we're talking about these different nuclear family dynamics, there is extra pressure on men to get straight into the workforce. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that
Well, I don't know who's going to run all the infrastructure in society if we don't get young men out there in the workforce building all the infrastructure in society, because women aren't doing that. Men are doing that.
I think there's like a really big phenomenon happening today too, where there are a lot of depressed men that aren't really, it's not really being talked about.
Absolutely.
So I think that could also be a driving factor to the gender disparity of people attending college and universities.
Let me get a couple chats here. Pilvia Slath was absolutely shocked to see Luce. How do you say your name? Sorry, Luce. When I hopped in tonight, I love your poetry. Anyways, big fan of the podcast, Brian. Let's have a clean show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff, Luce. JJ.
Oh, thanks, JJ.
Someone said something nice to you. There you have it. We have the Nordic Catholic. For the ladies, what do you think of men in the nursing field, and is it okay for a man to be a nurse?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great career. Of course.
It's actually more competitive to get into nursing school
Grid
than
One
med school right now.
Motorsports
It's crazy.
donated $200. Andrew is right, you should listen. If each of you were to die tomorrow and come back as a baby, would you rather have a nanny raise you, a daycare, or your loving mother? Feel free to go round.
Well, according to her, she thought it was better to be raised by somebody other than her mother. That's what she said
I had a
already.
mother who was not a good mother, personally. And my dad is an amazing person. My stepmom's an amazing person. So I think all family dynamics are different.
I agree. It's also subjective.
Don't you think maybe one of the reasons your mom wasn't such a great mom is because she outsourced how you were raised to a stranger?
No, I don't. Thank God she did, because I don't think I'd be here.
Word.
As I was saying, I agree. It's subjective. If a mother is unfit, I would prefer a nanny.
I love my mom.
I would also love a loving mother to raise me, but also not all mothers are good mothers, like she's saying.
Private chat, Nick. Pull that shit up.
Loving mother.
Yeah, my mom.
As a professional nanny, I have seen that the parents are more important, and it probably does damage some of the kids because they become more attached to me than to their parents, and I feel like that's definitely going to give them abandonment problems when they're older. 'Cause I majored in psychology, and I think that some of the kids I have watched became more attached to me than to their mother, which was very sad, especially when I'm only there for a year or two, and I mainly watched infants, so they are very attached to me instead of their parents. And their parents are good parents, but they're not around their child as much as I'm around.
No. There's so many bad mothers that we have to outsource all of the children to nannies and other people because mothers are apparently psychopaths who don't love their children enough.
What if
that
the
only
parents...
sounds moderately insane to me. I don't think it's true at all, but just my 2 cents.
Well, it's real. What if the parents have mental illness?
Yeah,
They
okay,
can't be there for the
look at the
kid.
exceptions to all the rules and then make policy for society based on exceptions.
But
That's
those
nuts.
exist.
And a lot of mothers go through
Yeah, and
postpartum
that's
or are at
fine. They
risk
can
of harming
exist,
their
and yes,
own
maybe in
child.
those suboptimal situations, you can, have somebody come in order to regulate the child being raised. But in most situations, that is not the case, and there's nobody who's going to be better for the health and welfare of your children than you. Nobody's ever going to love them more than you.
Can I just ask again for clarification? Every single hand went up around the table when you said you wanted to get married, theoretically, someday. Who is looking forward to being a mom around the table or wants kids in some capacity?
High, please. Put them high.
That's fascinating to me. All but 2 in a society where we have the lowest birth rate ever. We literally can't even replace our own population. And I think it's unquestionable to say that feminism is really steering women away from wanting to have children today. They're looked at as a burden to your career, your personal life. Heck, even climate change is now a reason not to have kids because it's destroying the planet, as we hear from a lot of politicians currently in Washington. So, I mean, that is wild to me. At the same time, knowing that you guys want to get married and that you want to have children, how many of you would consider yourselves to be modern feminists?
Starting with
Who
you.
would call yourself
Starting
a
with you.
feminist?
I've never thought about it.
You don't
Really?
consider yourself a feminist?
I really don't like restricting myself to any like form of label.
Okay.
Don't like labels.
What is the actual definition of a feminist?
Well, I don't know that we
Modern
have
feminist?
a definition today, to be honest with you. I think feminism
Yeah, I can give you a
means-
good definition for feminism if you'd like one.
For today, let's hear
Yeah.
yours, Andrew.
Yeah, so this would be the belief in an egalitarian structure where men and women are both equal in nature and equal in equity and equal under the law.
I would question if that's really the definition of feminism for most modern feminists.
Oh, no,
today.
no. That is the best definition that I can give that the most amount of feminists would agree with.
Well,
and I'm
that's
willing to
interesting.
grant them the nicest definition that I can come up with to show them how bad it still is, even if I did.
That's your most charitable
It's my most charitable
All right.
definition.
That's
the
a-
nicest,
good clarification.
most charitable way that I could possibly do it.
If that's the definition, I would say I prefer justice over equality. I like to look at things more subjectively. Everyone's going to have a different experience or have different struggles or strengths, and I think subjectivity is more important than a label. I agree.
When you talk, just a quick follow-up, if you don't mind, very quickly. When you say justice, can you tell us what justice is?
So let's say you are at like a baseball game. This is like an old, like really, really old like Facebook post. And you are like watching over the stand. A man can watch over the stand. He's tall enough. A woman needs a stool and a child needs 2.
That's equity, though. What makes that justice?
I would say more so that's justice.
Okay, so what makes it just?
So you are looking at something more subjectively.
So it's a subjective metric for
It's
justice.
subjective. And
Yeah, so is
you
all
are
justice
applying-
subjective?
You are applying what the person specifically needs. I'm not really sure I understand what you're asking.
Yeah, so
or-
let me explain. When I ask you what justice is, right? It's a hard question. I don't blame you for not knowing off the top of your head. I'm asking what you're grounding justice on. What is the grounding foundation for what you consider justice to be?
For me and how I look at things, like I said previously, I think it's subjective. What a person needs is what we should strive to like give them, you know, whether it be in a family dynamic, a child with disabilities, etc.
Yeah, but that's not a grounding foundation for why we should do that. It's just your belief that we
Why
should.
we should do that?
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's because we are. It'll bring a sense of community. We care and love about each other.
So outcomes.
Sorry.
So it's outcomes based. Basically, you're looking at outcomes, and you're saying that if we're a just society under what you consider just to be, the outcomes are going to be better for society.
I mean, I'm not sure I'm following correctly.
If I ask you, so I'll try to make this as, like really crystal clear. If I'm asking you what is justice, and you give an example, and I ask you, but why should we do it? You say because it makes for a better society. Then
Okay.
wouldn't you really be basing justice on outcomes?
So, I suppose so. Like for an example, for justice, let's say somebody like robs a store and harms an innocent shopkeeper. They should be arrested and prosecuted, but we shouldn't be arresting everyone and prosecuting them for robbing a store.
Yeah, but why
It's
shouldn't we arrest them, take them out, and put them in front of a firing squad immediately? Why would that be unjust?
Then you like dive into the philosophy of morality at that point.
Yeah, well,
So,
that's
like,
what justice is.
morals
Justice
also
is the
subjective.
philosophy of morality, right?
Yes.
So, like, from my personal standpoint, it would be my own values and morality of why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's everyone's opinion. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so it's a subjective metric based on your subjective interpretation of what justice ought to be.
Sure.
Okay,
So
thank you.
wouldn't consider yourself a feminist necessarily. Wouldn't consider yourself a feminist
I would
necessarily.
consider myself a
You would.
feminist.
Okay.
I think based off of like that specific definition of just wanting
I don't even think we have to tie it to that
equality.
definition, but just what modern feminism has looked like for our generation.
I personally, I think that men and women should just be treated equally and have, you know, of course there's discrepancies, gender discrepancies. I won't act like
Do you
there
think they're
aren't
not?
differences. I think in some worlds they're not.
Living underscore donated $200.
Aspects.
Notice how when men are at a clear societal disadvantage it's called depression or everyone should have equal access. Sounds like all lives matter to me. Why is it not sexism in your eyes?
I'm not going to deny that in like social terms there are a lot of things happening to men right now, but I'm not going to deny that there are a lot of things happening to women. I do think it's unfair that a man can have his reputation ruined just by pissing off some girl. Like, I've seen it happen, but I don't think it's all that common, and I think a lot of women that have had talked about bad experiences with men are usually not believed.
Well, there's an easy way actually for us to determine at the table who's a feminist and who is not. If you don't want to go with the definition, I'll just ask a single question. Do you guys believe that being a stay-at-home mom holds women back?
It's a great question.
No.
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 Sometimes.
Oh, some.
Just really quick around the table, please.
No. Absolutely not.
Okay, are you a feminist?
No.
I don't know. Honestly.
Yes.
You don't know anything. Okay.
No. I wouldn't consider myself a modern feminist, no.
All right.
Huh. Fascinating.
Nick,
I bet those glasses make you see better.